turn that off. Is that better? Well, now I can't hear myself at all, which is fine, I suppose. Testing. Okay. All right. Is that better? Chasing Enigmas? Hey, child of God. Hopefully we have sound now. Okay, good stuff. So, child of God, you want to tell me why I care what the Bible or the Quran or whatever your holy book is says, and or do you want to try and prove that that your God exists? Or did you just kind of? It looks like it just kind of went right on by. Hey, thanks for liking that. An inquisitive quandary. Hello. Come on up, or I can invite you. Father Duo, hold on just one second. Oh, wait, it looks like I've got. Hello, burn the boats.
Hello.
Are you over 18, and are you a theist, atheist? What you got?
I'm over 18 and a theist.
Okay. So, are you going to try and tell me why I should care what the Bible says, or are you going to try and prove your God exists?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I can based on a question.
Okay.
Is child grape objectively wrong?
By what standard?
Objective standard.
Right, but there has to be a standard that you choose, right,
not
for which you
require
can
a
measure
mind.
it. Pardon?
Does not require a mind.
I don't believe that objective morals exist at all.
So is child grape objectively wrong?
Not by any external standard to a mind, no.
All right, thank you.
I have no idea what that proved. Absolutely nothing. Objective morals do not, there are no such thing as objective morals. Morals are nothing more. Father Duo, do you want to come up and talk about that? Or I can just talk to you in chat, either way. Morals are nothing more than an opinion of behavior. If you like the behavior or think it's good, then you'll say it's good. And if you don't like it, then it's bad. I found new communities. And I say found new communities. Basically, I hit, because I did it a long time ago. I think you could probably do it in Facebook, but I went to Meetup, and I love board games. I went and played board games. I found the Humanist Society of Greater Phoenix, because I was in Phoenix at the time. And there was a great group of people there. And, you know, almost everything I did was secular. I already had a good group of people where religion wasn't mentioned and was kind of verboten in the Society for Creative Anachronism. There's like 100 or so or more different hobbies you can do just under that umbrella. So that's exactly what I did. I just created multiple new communities, not just one. Like I said, I found some board game groups that I was a part of. Did find a secular group, and then participated more heavily in the SCA. There were some other things that I was a part of. I ran a Munchkin game for a while, and a Munchkin community on Meetup for a while, those kinds of things. Yeah, talk man. Morals are an opinion of a, so. Well, blessed are us. Why don't you come on up and we can talk about that. The odds are not zero. And DNA is a logical conclusion to the laws of thermodynamics. Nothing increases entropy quite like living beings. So Yeah, abiogenesis, and I don't know that it is very low. We have so many prebiotic chemicals floating around just in our asteroid field. So, if you don't care, why are you talking about him? Well, take a look at what's going around and notice that people are making stupid decisions because their religion tells them to. So, there you go. Yeah, DNA won't survive, I believe, in what does low vibration mean? And in order to have DNA, there are other things that you have to have first that have to be created in a couple of steps. So the fact that DNA won't survive outside of a cell doesn't mean anything. Texas, like I said, go find game groups, go bowling, golfing, take whatever your hobby is and go find a group and go do the hobby. I do scuba diving and I do 4-wheel drive, and very rarely, if ever, does religion come up. Although my 4-wheel group did go to a Charlie Kirk thing. So, of course, I'm in Alabama, so yeah. DNA, no, you can ask all you want about DNA. Don't ask me a lot about DNA because I'm not a biochemist. Hey, Sherlock the Skeptic. I am going slowly and catching up. You're probably wrong, Butak. Yes, I can answer a serious question. But before I do that, it is Trey the Disciple. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Mr. Jim?
Not much. You're over 18, and are you a theist?
I am 28 and I'm a Christian.
Fantastic. Why do I care what the Bible says, or are you going to try and prove that your God exists?
So I could do both. So the reason why you should care is because everybody in this world is looking for a truth, right? But there's only one truth, which is Christ. Now I know that may seem
hold up. There's only one truth that is Christ. How do you know that?
Well, it's because God's word is not just his word, but it's alive. People have been transformed.
Hold on, back up just a second. So you know that God is true because the Bible says God is true. Is that it?
That's his word. Yes, his word is in there. And so that's how we get to interact with him.
My problem with that is basically it's a circular argument, right? Round and round the argument goes, where it stops, nobody knows. And that doesn't convince me of anything. It's a fallacy. It's an error in your logical thinking to say, I know God exists because the book that he wrote says he exists.
Well,
that doesn't make any sense, right?
Because I disagree that circular.
I'll give you an example. Does Bilbo Baggins exist?
But hold on, you didn't let me finish talking though. So I disagree that it's circular because people actually have testimonies as God were promised. That's like saying, okay,
testimony. There's a problem with testimony. Do you know what it is?
What's that?
How many personal experiences do you have to actually create data?
To create data? You don't have to create data.
Yeah, so personal experiences, eyewitnesses are the worst type of evidence you can have, and 1,000 people having an experience doesn't necessarily mean that experience happening. And we can
according to who, though? According to who?
According to science, right? Because we've got things
but science is still trying to catch up with the Bible, though. So according to who?
It's going the other direction. The Bible's got to come up to.
It's not. I mean, there's a lot. There's a reason why. No, I mean, there's a reason why a lot of scientists point back to God ever since the beginning.
No, more scientists are atheists than in the general public.
Yeah, and I agree because the scientists that were atheists now points back to God. That's proven fact.
So what's their evidence? Who cares what the scientists
evidence
are doing?
Is that everything that they've been trying to look for was already in the Bible. There was this one scientist.
DNA is not in the Bible. Hold on.
So there's this one recent
DNA is not in the Bible. Hold on. What else isn't in the Bible? Germ theory of disease isn't in the Bible.
Hold on. Right? Okay, hold on.
Evolution not in the Bible. Sorry.
Evolution.
Not only
are you serious?
Oh yeah.
You know, evolution is man-made, right? That's a man-made doctrine. That's an ideology.
So you deny genes exist then? Is that your case?
No, God is the one who created genes. But
Okay, so if
evolution?
genes exist, then you believe in evolution. If you believe genes
No,
exist,
that's not true because the evolution
yes,
said
it
that we
is.
came from monkeys. We didn't come from
No,
monkeys.
no, 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 no. You've got it. You're so wrong. So evolution is the change in allele frequency over time in a population. Alleles are the group of genes that are responsible for a particular inheritable
Okay, but
characteristic
who
like eye
created those
color,
genes? And who created
biogenesis.
evolution?
Right.
Who,
And
who
so,
created
but
those?
well, no. So you haven't really responded to the fact
I
that
did.
if you deny if you deny evolution, you deny genes
No,
exist
I didn't. I
because
didn't deny it.
evolution
God's the one who
relies
created.
on
Who created
genes.
us? We evolved
And
from
what's your
God.
evidence for that?
Okay, I can give you an example: a mother and father.
Yeah, they have sex. It's a biochemical process. Okay.
Exactly. And who created that?
Their parents.
And who created the parents to do that?
It all goes back to evolution. And once you get back
But
to
who created the
single cell
evolution?
organs, you
Who
get back
created
to
the
your bio.
evolution? Who created the evolution?
Why do you think a person or entity created anything?
Because we have to start from somewhere. That's like with science, right? Science
How
says,
did
"Oh,
you
I
eliminate
got you."
natural
Listen, when you look
how
at the
many?
universe, you
Yeah,
got.
you look
Hey,
at the
listen, if you're
universe
gonna
and I
ask me a
see natural
question,
processes. If
Mr.
I look at
Jim,
the
if you're gonna
universe,
ask me a question, you
well,
gotta let me answer. You
well,
can't do shotgun. People who usually do shotgun don't know what they're talking about. You gotta let me. You gotta let me
when you say
expand.
something I object to, I want to interrupt you.
I mean, what's the point? You gotta say your truth though. If you're really truthful about what you're saying, you just let me talk.
Right. So, no, I don't let people preach, and you keep wanting to preach, and I'm not
It's
going to
not
allow that.
preaching. And then what are you
Yeah.
doing then?
So I'm not preaching. I'm responding directly to
Who
what
said I
you're
was
saying.
preaching? We're just having a conversation.
Why do you think that an entity created anything? Why couldn't natural processes?
Because he is a purposeful God. He wants to show how much he loves us.
That's not an answer to the question.
That
Can
is
you
an
answer the
answer.
question? Why do you think that an entity created the universe as
Because
opposed
he
to
created
natural
it out of love.
processes?
Because he's God.
No, you're still doubling down. You're tripling down now on your claim that a God
I'm
exists.
not
I'm
tripling
asking you
down.
a very specific question. How did you eliminate natural processes and come to the conclusion that an entity created the universe? What was your
He is the
process for
natural.
deciding that?
He's the one who created the natural process. He's the one that created the visible
How
and
do
the
you know
visible.
that?
Because I have a relationship with him. He showed
How do
himself
you
to
know
me.
you have? How do you know you have a relationship with a God that's just not a
Testimonies.
figment of
He
personal
saved me from.
testimony? Is not convincing.
Listen. I got you. He saved me from the things I used to do, as he promised. He saved
That's
me from witchcraft that was under. Only he was the answer. I've seen people
what do you mean?
get.
What makes you think
Hold
that
on, hold on. Let me
witchcraft
finish. Let me finish.
exists?
I've seen people
Well, no, you're
get
just saying
saved
he did a
from
whole bunch
Jesus
of
Christ when
stuff,
they
and I
had
want to
demons
have
in
the
them. I've
exact
seen an
same
angel
question.
before.
You've seen an angel before? Which one?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I have. When I was 13 years old, I sure did.
Right? And how
I
do you know it
sure
wasn't a
did
hallucination?
because I wasn't hallucinating.
How do you know?
Because I know I wasn't.
You know because you know.
Yes.
Congratulations. You have absolutely no critical thinking skills.
I mean, okay, then prove me that I'm wrong. Prove it.
Yeah, so I look at the universe and I see nothing but natural processes and nowhere for a God
No.
is
Prove to me that
necessary.
I'm wrong. You're going based off your ideology. Prove to me that I'm wrong.
I just did.
No, you
There's
didn't, because you're not me.
there's
So
absolutely no reason to
you were
conclude.
there. So you were there.
I don't have to be there, right?
Yeah, I
Because
think
we
you
can
would be.
no, because we can do a number of experiments to prove the math is
Okay,
correct
so yeah,
and
let's
work
do it. So why am I
backwards.
not the only one that's seen that saw an angel before? Why am I not the only
Lots of
one
people
that says that seen demons?
because people hallucinate.
But that people are not going to hallucination though. These are people that actually done witchcraft that actually got converted to Christ
Can you
now.
demonstrate that they actually did anything you say they did?
Absolutely, it's called the transformation. They went to Christ, and Christ transformed them just like He did for
No,
me.
can you prove that they did anything supernatural?
Yes, faith.
What's the
They put their
evidence?
faith in
Faith.
Christ.
All right. So it just all
Faith
comes
is a
down to
spiritual
faith.
gift from God.
You believe because you believe, not because of evidence. You have chosen
It
to
is
believe.
evidence. Witness. Okay, so look,
No,
the word testimony in Greek literally means evidence. It's personal
no.
evidence. And guess what?
Personal
God promises.
testimony
So if it
is
was circular,
absolutely
God wouldn't have literally
useful.
listen.
Is
If
absolutely useless.
I got you. I got you. If it was circular reasoning, right? God wouldn't say, "If you put your faith in me, that I want to show you. I want to show who
Yes,
I
he
am. I want to
would.
reveal myself."
That's
No, that
exactly
would be. Listen,
exactly what the book would say,
no,
right? Because that's how
no.
you prove the circular
That's what the
reasoning.
book would say
You
if it was
believe in
circular
God because
evidence.
you
If it was
believe
circular
God wrote the
reasoning.
book that says it. That's
The
circular.
God said it differently though. God said if
No,
you
I
put your
didn't.
faith in me, he will reveal. If you put your whole heart in me, I
No,
will reveal. Why you
no,
think we
you
still have this
believe.
conversation right now?
because I'm trying to improve your critical thinking skills.
But listen, you can't improve. No human logic. I'm sorry, but human logic can't improve my critical thinking because the creator who created human, the creator, which is God that created human, already revealed himself to me.
Yeah.
So this is think about it. God is so powerful, and think about it.
How do you prove
God
that
is
that's
so
not a hallucination?
powerful. I got you. Listen, that's your claim. That's what you want to believe. That's what you want to believe. God is so powerful that humans can't prove that he doesn't exist. But God is so powerful that
I can prove he doesn't exist.
You can't.
Yes,
you can't.
This. So first of all, if you believe in the triomni God, the omnibenevolent, omniscient, omnipotent God, and you believe that evil exists, then the omnipotent God is not logically possible. Second, we look at the universe.
Wait. Hold on. Say the first one again.
If you believe in the triomni God, the omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent God, and you believe evil exists, that God cannot logically exist.
How? When he said he's died on the cross for our sins.
I didn't say anything about dying on the cross, did I? Could you repeat what I said?
Yes, you're basically saying since God is omnipresent, that evil wouldn't exist.
No, not because he's omnipresent, because he's omnipresent.
You just said omnipresent. You just said it again.
Yeah. It's the triomni God. You're missing some of those traits. If he was just omniscient, evil could exist. If he was just omnibenevolent, evil could still exist. If he was just omnipotent, evil. But
why do we have evil right now? Why are people being delivered right now?
Because
why does evil exist right now as we see?
Why? Because that's the result of what we see.
No, you're just going to base up your ideology. That's not proof. You're going to base up your own ideology. No. Yes, you are.
So
you don't have the answer.
Let's get back to the original topic.
No, come on. You don't have the answer.
God cannot exist with evil existing at the same time.
That's your ideology. That's false. False claims.
No.
False claims. It's false claims. There's no
basic
proof.
Logic. And guess
Where's
what?
The proof?
It's a logical argument.
Where's the proof?
It's a logical argument that predates me and predates Christianity.
Look, the reason why I'm saying this, and the reason why I'm saying this is because the devil, listen, my friend, the devil, he wants you to believe that God doesn't exist.
Yeah,
so the devil is the father of ideology.
Either.
Yeah, the devil is the father of ideology.
So do you know what a formal argument is?
A formal argument?
Yep.
Just
you know anything about philosophy at all?
Well, the philosophy just go based off how somebody feels about something.
No.
What is it? What is
Philosophy is the love of knowledge, is literally what it means. And so it's a study of how we know things. And it includes things like epistemology, which is literally what we know. Study of beauty is another one. It also includes science, includes metaphysics and ethics and all kinds of stuff. So the fact that you don't know this, no. So it's the study of these things. It's literally the study of these things. Philosophy makes no claims. It examines claims. That's what we do with it. So one of the tools that we have to examine the truth of something is what we call a formal argument. And I'm having a senior moment here. So if you have premises that are true, I'm over 50. I get to. So when you have premises that are true, then the conclusion must be true. That's a formal argument. And the argument I am making is the argument against evil, which predates Christianity, by the way. And it basically says that if your God is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipotent, right? So, and evil exists, right? So let's look at this. So first of all, he has to be omniscient in order to know that the evil exists.
What does omniscient mean? What does that mean?
All knowing. It means that no evil can exist without him knowing. Right?
Yep.
He has to be omnipotent so he can do something about it.
Right, which he did.
Finally, he has to want to, which means he needs to be at least benevolent. But Christians say he's omnibenevolent. If he's all three of those things, then evil should not exist.
So here's the thing.
right? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. So,
If he's all
yeah,
three of those things,
yeah, I'm
evil
about to
should
prove
not
it to you.
exist.
Right. So I'm gonna prove it to you that why it does. So I'm gonna prove it to you. So number one, God was here way before Christianity.
This
Christianity.
doesn't do no
Oh,
no
no,
no
no,
no.
hold
We're
on,
not. You're
wait,
not
hold on. I
talking.
got you, I got
You're
you.
not
Let me
addressing the
just hold
argument
on.
I just laid
Let me
out
do it.
for you. That
Let me
God
do it. Let me do it.
existed.
Let me do it.
No,
Come on, let
that
me do
God
it. Let me
existed.
do it.
That
Come
God
on, come on.
existed.
Let me talk about it. Come on, let me do it. Let me do it.
No.
Listen.
So that God exists before anything has absolutely nothing to do with the argument I laid out. Nothing.
Right? And
Okay.
so this is why Jesus died on the cross for our sins. He already knew.
No, you're not. You're
Yes,
not
he
dealing
did.
with the argument I laid out. You're just
Yes, I am
preaching.
dealing with the
Can
argument.
you
So if
please
God
deal with
already
my
knew that
argument?
evil would exist, Jesus died on the cross for our sins. This is
Evil
why we're still
cannot.
witnessing
No.
that till
So, all
today.
right, Trey the disciple. I'm sorry, but you're just continuing to preach. You're not addressing anything that I say.
I am
I
addressing,
hope you
bro.
have
Come on, dog.
I hope you have a wonderful rest of your
All
evening
right,
and go
all right,
find
Mr. Jim.
someplace else to preach. All right, next up, Wolfgang. As soon as you stop spinning, there you go. So, are you over 18? And what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, I'm 18.
Okay.
And I am not necessarily affirming Christianity or Catholicism, but just the existence of a God in general.
Okay. Which God?
It's non-denominational. Just the concept of a creator.
All right. Give him properties and tell me how you prove that he exists.
Yeah. So the properties. So my argument is basically going to be comparing him to the idea of somebody who makes a simulation. So can I go into that real quick?
Well,
It's a
first of
semi-formal
all,
argument.
yeah, unfortunately, having written simulations before, simulations aren't reality. And they're not as good as reality can be. I don't know. I mean, you can go ahead and give it a shot, but I'm already kind of getting ready to laugh at you here in a second. So go ahead and give it a shot, Wolfgang.
That's fine. Yeah, it's not that fleshed out, so I'll try my best. Okay, so the claim is that we're going to be in a simulation that was designed by God or a creator. Premise one is going to be that it's just going to be the case that there's behaviors that are going to be designed, such as like the capability of survival and flourishing.
May I challenge your premise one? Because we're not going to get past it.
Sure.
How do you tell if something is designed?
I mean, if it has a creator, it would be designed just by nature.
Okay, that's one way to tell. Certainly. Can you think of another way to tell? Because there are two.
Well, I'm actually going to get into that. That's kind of where premise one goes. Do you want me to read it out?
What's the second now? Because you're making a claim that something is designed, and I'm wondering how you know that something is designed. And you said one, you can produce the creator of it, and I agree. The creator should also be able to explain how they designed it, right? But there's a second way you can tell if something is designed.
If it has purpose.
No. I can use things that were built for one purpose for a completely different purpose. Purpose has nothing to it.
Yeah, but that doesn't negate the idea of a creator.
Yeah, because I assign a purpose to whatever I pick up. This cup is something to hold water or beat somebody over the head with. It has multiple different purposes depending on what I'm doing. Right now, it's holding down my mouse pad. So it changes purpose depending on the use I put it to. So purpose has nothing to do with it. So that's not a way you tell something is designed. The other way that you tell something is designed is to compare it to something you know is designed or not. So for instance, if I have a piece of metal I've never seen before, I can compare it to other naturally occurring metals and go, oh, this must be designed because we don't see these base metals combined into this alloy ever in nature. And we go, okay, this is probably designed. So the first way that you could prove design to prove a creator, well, that's what you're talking about. So you can't use that to prove that something has been designed. So
Yeah,
you
it's
have to
question
go.
building, yeah.
right? Yeah. So the other way that you have to do it is you have to go and look at another universe that you know is either designed or natural and compare this universe to that universe. And we can't do that. So you can't prove this universe was designed in any way, shape, or form until one, if we know there is a second universe or another universe we can compare it to, and then two, of course, that we can actually do that comparison. So your premise one fails, and this is true for any argument from design you would care to make. Every argument design has this particular problem, and you can't overcome it at all.
Sure. I mean, in the example of the cup that you brought up, it was designed and created by somebody that has a purpose and function.
Yes, and I can look at this cup, and I compare. The way I know it's designed is that one, it has a manufacturer I recognize. But let's say that's not there. Let's say I've never seen this before. So what I would do is I would take this and compare it to other objects. And then I could go, well, we never see this weird shape with this handle naturally. In this exact format. I could take a look at the plastic top here and go, we don't see plastic naturally. We don't see this metal alloy it's made out of naturally anywhere else. And then we could conclude that it's designed, right?
By comparing the cup to other objects?
Yes.
Okay.
That we know to be either natural or designed.
Could I it's a very brief argument. Can I just finish so it could be like you could get like a better understanding of where I'm coming from, because you haven't really heard the whole thing yet.
But I object to premise one. You're making a deductive argument. So if I don't accept premise one, what do the rest do?
I mean, they're supposed to build off each other.
All right. Well, right. But your first premise I reject wholeheartedly. So go ahead, though. Go ahead and give the rest of your.
Wait, I mean, premise one includes like the biological and physical will and capacity to survive. That's not a purpose of life.
Again, purpose requires a mind, and a mind can change the purpose of whatever it is. So.
Oh yeah. Well, sorry. Go ahead.
Purpose comes from the mind of the user of the object. There is no intrinsic purpose to anything.
Okay, so then I mean, I guess I would just ask, if there's no purpose to anything, then there'd be no purpose to you and I being alive right now.
That's correct. There is no intrinsic purpose. Do you know what I mean by intrinsic?
Yeah, there's going to be like an innate sense of something or to do something.
Innate property of a thing, yes. So there is no innate purpose. There is function, which is not purpose. Function is what it does. Purpose is why we think it is answering the why does it do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, premise one would just assume, I guess, that because life exists, it would have a purpose, right? Was life just to exist?
Yeah, except I reject that one too, because purpose comes from the mind of the person using the thing. There is no intrinsic purpose to a thing, so you need to demonstrate that purpose is intrinsic to a thing.
Yeah, I mean, okay, future like ours is a very good example of purpose. Just like the, are you familiar with the future like ours argument? Or no, not necessarily.
No, but again, you have to get around the fact that you have to establish that purpose is intrinsic for your argument.
Okay, meaning that there's going to be like an innate sense of
not an innate sense, but an innate part of a object's property is purpose. And as I've demonstrated, I can take this cup and use it to hold water, which is its intended purpose by the manufacturer. I can also heat somebody over the head with it, which is not the intended purpose, but becomes my purpose when I do it. And I can also go, oh, I need to hold this piece of paper down, and now it's a paperweight. It changes purpose depending on what I need it to do and make it do. There is no intrinsic purpose to my cup. So if you can demonstrate an intrinsic purpose to my cup, then we're getting somewhere.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay, so I guess an example of something that has innate purpose would be, I guess, like a gamete. Like the purpose of a gamete is to interact with another gamete to reproduce. And
no, that's its function. It's not its purpose. You're confusing function and purpose.
Okay, so then what's the purpose of a gamete then? There's no purpose?
Again, there is no intrinsic purpose to anything. There
Why
is a
not?
function because purpose requires a mind.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is there's quite literally zero purpose to the universe, to us, life, because you're
It's the third
presupposing that
time,
it was not.
at least the third time you've asked that question. The third time I said yes. There
Okay,
is
then
no we've been talking about intrinsic purpose, and there is no intrinsic purpose to anything. Purpose is not a part of a thing's characteristics. It's not a property of a thing. It's a
so
property applied to a thing by a mind.
okay, so how do you know the universe was not created with an intelligent designer, by an intelligent designer?
I have no reason to conclude that. And when I look at the universe, I don't see anything that I would consider to be, I don't have any reason to conclude that at all.
Why not?
Because there's no evidence for it.
Okay, okay. What do you see in the universe that leads you to that conclusion?
Everything. I have natural explanations for nearly everything in the universe that we know about. And if you go back in history, say 2,000 years, we had supernatural explanations for a whole lot of stuff. And
Right.
every single one of those supernatural explanations has fallen to a natural explanation. I have no reason to conclude that anything other than natural processes exist because they have slowly been whittled away despite the best efforts of people who claim that the supernatural in any way, shape, or form exists. I just have no reason to conclude that a God exists.
Okay. I guess I'll ask a question that's somewhat adjacent to that. Was there a purpose of you starting this live tonight, or no?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. What was that purpose?
Have fun conversations about whether or not God exists and why I should care about what the Bible says.
Okay. Why wouldn't someone consider that the function of a live?
Well, the function of the live is to actually entertain people. My purpose and the function of the live can be two completely different things.
Okay, sure. So there is going to be purpose that's meaningful in some places, but not others.
Yes, because everybody gets to decide their own purpose.
Okay, so you're an existentialist? Just want to be clear.
Not necessarily. I'm more of a Venn diagramist. I say that somewhat jokingly. I don't have a single position because every position has problems, and I recognize that, and so I try to stay away from them. But no, the purpose comes from a mind, and orcas used to put, I think they were squids. Squids are octopi, and wear them as hats. That was an octopus's purpose for an orca. If it was an octopus, I forget exactly what it was, but purpose, all kinds of things have purposes. Birds drop stones on stuff and drop things on the ground to break them. And so those all have different purposes. So purpose comes from a mind. It comes from an intent to use an object in a particular way, which may or may not have anything to do with that object's function. So, for instance, a tree has a function of taking in nutrients, turning carbon dioxide into oxygen. That's what it does. It may have the purpose of providing shade for a human, homes for all manner of living things, right? And all those things have a purpose for that tree that are completely different. But the intrinsic function of that tree is, well, to do all of that, because some of that stuff is symbiotic to the tree. So those are functions.
Right.
And that,
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry. No, it's fine. You can go.
No, I was going to say that it's a fine distinction, right? We can talk about because function is what it does.
Yeah.
Purpose is what we intend it to do, what something intends it to do.
Okay, so I'm trying to think with that. So if the purpose is going to be based on solely on intention, and the function is going to be what its capacity or ability is,
What it does, yes.
then yeah. So is there any intention with life? Is my question, I guess.
Well, if you've got enough mind, you can have intention, right? So yes, we have intention. Is there intention behind life? You would need to demonstrate that.
Okay, I mean, I guess I don't really debate theism or atheism that much, so really I would just be giving you an intuition pump as to why life has intention. So I guess let's say, I mean, besides reproduction, I mean, flourishing would be something off the bat that seems intuitive to me that would relate to intent. Like life
How
exists.
is that not a function of life? Because we can look at the laws of thermodynamics, right, which is basically increasing entropy, and life is really, really good at increasing entropy. A really
Right.
complicated example of that is humans turning oil into gasoline and then into gases from internal combustion engines, right? That's a really complex version of life increasing entropy. So a function of life is to increase entropy, which is a function of thermodynamics, which seems to be a function of the universe, right? And I'm speaking, if there's a physicist in the audience, I apologize for sending you into a apoplectic fit over what I just said, because I'm glossing over so much. And I know I'm glossing over a lot, right? That's just kind of the basics of it, of what I'm trying to get across.
Okay. So with life, I guess to be more specific, I could see the function for life to maintain homeostasis, for reproduction, to carry on through generations and generations, etc. But I could see a potential purpose or intent to, for example, specifically with even more complex that have critical thinking life forms. They can, actualize desire. They can create. They can innovate. They can logically rationalize things like that. I wouldn't say that's a mere accident or more of like a purposeless thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just don't understand why you can come to that conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, again, it would just be an intuition pump. I don't know what else I would give you. I mean,
Okay. So
like,
yeah, that's the problem, right? Is all you have is it's got to be something more than just chemicals doing chemical things. And of course, all chemistry is physics, and all physics is quantum mechanics. I get that there is this human desire for it to be something more, but honestly, that's pretty much what it is. And so we get to make our lives mean whatever we want it to mean, right? We don't have to try and interpret some silent power's desire for us. We can just simply go, you know what, this is what I intend to do today. And we can change our purpose every year or every day if we want.
so okay, so saying my preferences or truth tracking is not going to be a valid reason for purpose.
No, the brain
Okay.
is just too weird for that. I mean, we're
I see it. Yeah. I understand.
we hallucinate things a lot more than we really think we do. Every time you think you see a person and it turns out to be a tree, or all those kinds of things are tricks of the mind, because the way our eyes and our
Right.
ears and all that work. Just because it's an intuition, then you start running into black swan fallacies and all kinds of problems if you rely on an untrained intuition. If you spend time training your intuition for certain things, I think that you can rely on it to a large degree, but it needs to be a highly trained intuition. And it's got to be something specific. Like, I have met sailors who can tell you what direction they're facing without a compass and without looking at anything, and it be inside with no sun, no nothing. Just because, and it's all off intuition, and they're 90% right. So stuff like that.
Okay. What inference rule do you use for your argument, or are you not really into that kind of thing?
Which argument?
that there's no God? Like, is it modus ponens for that, or
no, there are two ways that I go. First, if you believe in the omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent God, and that evil exists, that God cannot logically exist, right? It's the
yeah,
problem of evil, and it predates Christianity. So that's the first one. And then when I look at the universe, and we go back 2,000 years, and we had all kinds of supernatural explanations for all kinds of phenomena. And now here we are 2,000 years later, and we understand quantum mechanics, which nobody else, 2,000 years ago, basic physics was hard enough to understand for some folk, much less quantum mechanics. And now we have this understanding. We have a deep understanding, and we have replaced almost everything that we used to call supernatural with natural explanations, leading me to the conclusion that I don't have any reason to conclude that any phenomena has a supernatural explanation, because I don't know how to calculate the odds of something being supernatural, because nothing we see seems to be have any type of supernatural, and that includes God.
okay. Okay. So the problem of evil, I do agree with. I don't think it's logical. Like, for example, I don't think it's logically possible for God to be all good and all powerful, because I think those would just go to. I agree with you there. I guess we would disagree at the at whether there would be a intelligent designer or not. But yeah, is there is there really a formal argument besides those two paths to go down, or not really?
I haven't put it in a more formal argument, but those are there is a full formula argument for the problem of evil. But
Yeah.
the summarization and my other argument, just by observing the universe and noticing that a supernatural explanation has not survived. And and again, it's that I have no way of saying what are the odds of phenomena X to be supernatural or natural, given all of this evidence from, and I'm going back 2,000 years because of Jesus and all that kind of nonsense, right? 2,025 years, because of how much was supernatural then. And just looking at the universe and looking at history and going, I've got no reason to conclude this.
Okay. Yeah. I one more thing, and then I'll let somebody else come up, because I've eaten a lot of your time. So with the problem of evil, I actually talked about this with some people, and they said that it was a false dichotomy and that it would contradict God's good nature. What response would you have to that?
So if you have someone who is going to tie good as a intrinsic property of God, you're still stuck with proving God, right? And if you're going to do that, you're going to base that God on the Bible, you're going to have issues, because the Bible is at best not consistent. Depending, you can pick different parts of it and go, wait a minute, what happened here, right? Slavery is a good example. All forms of slavery, including chattel slavery, are supported by the Bible, and yet abolitionists used the Bible to prove that slavery was wrong. So you're going to have problems like that if you're going to start doing that. But the biggest problem you're going to have for me is that I don't see morals as anything more than a label we put on behavior.
Fair enough.
Right. And you can look at things like rats. Scientists have proven that if you train a rat to get a reward, and then you take the getting of that reward and tie it to causing another rat pain, the rat being rewarded will not take his reward at all. You can't convince him to cause another rat pain, even if he does another rat. And we knew, again, from other experiments, that humans will harm other humans just because somebody in authority says so. Those are behaviors we can say that, well, we don't think that rats are behaving morally good because of whatever reason, but you're still labeling the behavior. And so if you're going to prove that morals are objective or tied to some being's intrinsic properties,
I was
you're
going to
going to
ask that,
need to, you're going to have to, you're going to have, you have more to explain, not less.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna let you go here, but it was a good conversation.
Yeah,
I really
enjoyed
appreciate
it. Come back anytime.
Of course. Have a good night.
Yep. Bye. All right. We got one more. It is Scott Smith. Hey, Scott, are you over 18? And what are we going to talk about?
Yes, sir. I'm 58 years old, and so glad to get to talk to you. Let me save my camera here. Been a big fan of you for many, many years.
Oh,
Going
fantastic.
back.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. From AXP, you and several other individuals involved with AXP, and also, other groups. You really helped me when I came out of Christianity, and I guess it'd be the year 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot from you, you and others, and I really appreciate it. And I mean, as you were talking with the previous gentleman who were just on here,
Mm-hmm.
I hope that gentleman will consider all the things that you said. And I mean, I myself, I was a Christian for over like 30 years, and I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, just a little bit to the east of where you may be at, and I'm up here in like northeastern Ohio now, and now, but when I came to Ohio, it was because my wife, I was married, and my wife at the time, we decided to follow a particular uh, a religious organization,
Mm-hmm.
and it meant so much to us. And now that things have changed, my wife she passed away from cancer a long time ago, and but like I said, I became an atheist. I would say in like the beginning of 2021,
Mm-hmm.
and and now I mean I've been very active in working, you know, and basically getting people to question
Mm-hmm.
really what you have been doing for a long time. I have come along here just lately, and to get people. I was a Bible teacher. I was a preacher,
Right.
camp counselor. I was a youth pastor. I have lately been a Bible scholarship student.
Mm-hmm.
A lot like the teachings of Dr. Bart Ehrman. There's,
Uh-huh.
but nevertheless, things like you pretty much know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so I'm to the point to where I really wish that Christians would really question what they believe in, just like I did, because what I set out to do, I set out to prove God. That was my goal. I want to prove to people that God is real.
Mm-hmm.
And as I did that, I started learning that no, I can't prove that God is real and God's not real.
Yeah, that's kind of what got me too, is getting into Catholic apologetics and realizing that just how bad the arguments were.
Exactly.
And trying to get people. So I think a large part of the problem is that people identify part of their identity is to be Christian, and so trying to get them out of that is difficult. But we keep having these conversations. I keep hoping someone is going to be able to prove God, and they keep failing. So yeah, it's just we have someone in chat who said, "God, prove yourself, flood them." Yeah, the flood didn't actually happen as written in the Bible, so that's not going to happen. And if prayer worked, then we would know.
Oh, exactly.
I just forgot the religious organization that did the prayer on study, the study on prayer that actually
The
Templeton Foundation.
Templeton
Yeah.
Foundation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Templeton Foundation did that study and actually showed to a small but statistically significant amount that praying for somebody and letting them know actually causes harm.
Exactly, because like let's say for example that I'm suffering from something, some serious. I don't want to mention a disease. I don't want to trigger anybody. Let's say I have a serious disease, and you come to me and say, "Hey, Scott, we are praying for you that you will be healed of this, belligerent disease." And I go, "Oh, wow, thank you, Jim. I'm so glad to hear." So we're praying for you now.
Right.
You just have faith, eh?
Right.
Okay. And then you walk away. I don't see you anymore. I'm like, oh my goodness, I've got to get better. If I don't get better, these people are gonna look at me and go, oh my goodness.
Well, you also stop trying, right? My girlfriend is an ICU nurse, and she's seen it, many, many times that they keep saying a miracle can happen, even though the inevitable is going to happen. And so they refuse medical care and everything else because they think it starts to interfere with God's ability to heal them and things like that. It's always bad. But real quick, folks, like, subscribe. I guess TikTok is follow. You can tell I've done way too much YouTube. Share the stream, invite some Christians. Scott's an atheist, and I'm talking to him because he's the only person in the queue. So let's go ahead and see if we can find some Christians. At Revelation, if you want to come up, you're more than welcome to. And anybody else in there too, instead of just talking in the chat there. So anyway, it's really just kind of sad that you have parents who let their children starve because they have a disorder that disallows them from bringing in enough nutrition. So. Hey, Brad, why don't you come on up and we can talk about it? Scott's an atheist, and I will toss him overboard and take your chat as soon as it comes up. So
exactly, Christians, please come in here. I will step aside quickly. Come in here and challenge Jim. Challenge him about how real your God is. Jim will be glad to talk with you. Please do this. Please do this.
Yeah. It's just and there's just so much going on, and you can trace right back to people believing crazy things, just anything about Trump, honestly. But yeah,
exactly. I tell you what, the sooner he's gone, I'll tell you what. I have to tell you this real quick, Jim. I mean, when I was still a Christian, I voted for Trump back in 2016. I was a part of all of that. And then I voted for him in 2020. And after he lost, it was then that I started realizing some things, and I realized, my goodness, I voted for this guy. I voted for him. I thought, this is ridiculous. I started realizing what the Republican Party was all about. I started realizing what was happening. And I walked away from it. I was so, you talk about 180 degrees is exactly 180 degrees.
Right.
That's exactly what I did. And I started absorbing so much of so many podcasts that you were a part of. And I was absorbing a lot of the things you were talking about. And now you and I, we are friends on Facebook and all that. And
okay.
And I started absorbing all these things, and I realized, my goodness, I was following this. And I'm so glad that I'm on the other side now, the other side of the wall,
Right.
the safe zone. But please, Christians, come in here. If you think your God's real, please come in here and ask Jim. Please come in here and do this.
Yeah.
If you think you know something about, cosmology, come on.
The skeptic. He was up next. I was getting ready to interrupt you and bring him on, so I will invite him back.
Please, I will stand back.
All right. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There we go. So, well, skeptic, let me bring you. Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No,
Hey.
I'm an atheist.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah. No, so I'm 20.
Hey, all right, good. Hold on just a second. So no, you can prove a negative, Annie. It is incredibly difficult to do so. And if you want to, anyway, it's incredibly difficult, but you can prove a negative. Anyway, what were you saying, Ross?
Pardon?
Oh, what were you saying? Oh, wait, I think
I'm
I have
20.
a claim me. Are you a Christian?
I just wanted to say, I'm studying evolutionary biology.
Uh-huh.
So if anyone, I probably would stay in the live for a
Okay.
couple, maybe 30 minutes. I'll drop down, but if anyone starts talking about that, bring me up.
I will grab you if they have specific things, because I usually stop them
Great.
with, if you deny evolution, you deny genes exist.
Yeah, that's usually a good take.
Yep. All right.
Well,
So,
I'll drop down for now.
all right. Apparently, they're not detecting any activity, and there we go. And Acclaimy is up next. Acclaimy, are you over 18, and what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm over 18. I wanted to ask how you ground like logic and morality.
Logic is nothing more than a way to think about things, and I don't ground morality in anything because it's nothing more or less than an opinion on behavior.
So it's like subjective then?
Yes, morality is subjective.
Okay, great. So like if somebody like breaks into your house and like slaughters your family, is that a bad thing?
Yes,
But why is it a bad thing?
because that's my opinion.
Okay, great. So like if somebody kills you, is that a bad thing?
Well, I'm dead, so it doesn't really matter. But I would imagine
No, to
that
them.
the people who to them, I don't know. I don't know what their framework for morality is.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's all subjective, right, and there's like no objective grounding, then it would have to be subjective to them as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the point. Yes,
So it wouldn't be a bad thing then.
it's all subjective. Yes, you're correct.
Okay, great. So is the Holocaust bad?
Yes,
Why is it bad?
because it killed a lot of people for very, very stupid reasons and caused a lot of pain to other
Yeah, but-
people.
But yeah, it's like why are all these things bad though?
That's my opinion. We've been over this. Why do you keep asking the same question over and over again?
Yeah, so like you have like no grounding as to why like a bad thing exists, just your opinion. So like
It's
Hitler
all
could just have like an
subjective.
opinion as to but Smithler can just have an opinion as to why it's a good thing, right? And it would have to be a good
Of
thing
course.
according to him, no?
And the mustachio guy did have an opinion that it was a good thing to do. Yes. You keep asking the same questions, and this is getting a little boring. If you have
Getting a
something
little boring?
else, well,
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
completely
Okay, yeah,
bored
I
by
mean, like,
asking
what's
the
about-
same
okay.
question, right?
No, I want to ask the same question again. I'll get off that.
Okay, well, if you don't want to get off yes, all morals are subjective, and any moral quandary you could come up with is purely subjective.
Okay,
Does
cool.
that
I'll
answer
make
all your
yeah.
questions?
No, like, because we can get off like morality, right? So like, do you think like true propositions exist?
Yes.
Okay, so like what's the grounding for truth then?
It conforms with reality as adjudicated by predictive power.
Okay, great. So like, do like false propositions exist?
Yes.
I mean, how could false propositions exist though?
They don't conform to reality as adjudicated by predictive power.
So they don't.
I don't
exist,
understand
though.
why you didn't know what that. I don't understand why you didn't actually come to that conclusion yourself. But okay.
No, I mean, I have a grounding as to why they like, don't exist, but I'm asking you as an atheist, like how could you ground like a false proposition?
It doesn't
Okay.
conform to reality as adjudicated by. Because I asked. So if I answer the question, how do you ground truth, and I say, truth is that which conforms to reality as adjudicated by predictive power, then why isn't, well, how do you know if something is false? Not the exact opposite of that answer, since false.
No,
is
that's
the
not what I
opposite
said.
of
I
truth.
Yeah, it's like I asked you, do false propositions exist? That's not like I didn't ask what you said at all.
Yeah, I know you didn't pay any attention to what I said. You're just running your script.
I'm running a script. What script? I don't have a script.
Okay.
What?
So
Yeah, so I asked you. You got it.
Go ahead. Run your
Yeah.
script.
So I asked you. You gave a reason as to why like truth propositions exist, right? Right. Truth propositions exist, and then I asked you, do you believe that false propositions exist? And then you said yes.
That's correct.
So they're just the opposite. So why wouldn't by definition they just not exist then?
Huh?
Yes, like by definition of like the true propositions existing is that them conforming to reality. Why wouldn't just the false proposition not conforming just like not exist?
Why? Because people make mistakes?
No, people make mistakes, but like that's not what a proposition is.
Well, proposition is a claim to truth, that it could be either true or false, right? You prove it true by proving that it conforms to reality as adjudicated by its predictive power. You prove it's false by saying that it does not conform to reality. I can make a claim about anything. I can make a claim that I make the claim that a claimee is nothing more than 3 gerbils in a human suit. Are
Yeah, but you can
3
justify
gerbils
them.
in a human site? No, that's a false
No.
proposition.
I mean, yeah, sure, but like again, like yeah, but they don't exist though.
Gerbils exist.
Yeah, no, but like the false propositions don't exist.
Yeah, sure they do. I just made one.
No, sure, but again, if it's subjective, then it wouldn't. There's no. Okay, do you even like
Where do
objective?
you get where did subjective come into anything I've said or done? True
No, I
propositions
mean-
exist. You determine truth by determining how closely it conforms to reality as adjudicated by its predictive power.
Wait, so it's like reality
So I could
objective?
take is reality objective? Yes.
Yeah.
As near as
Okay,
we
so
can
you
tell.
believe in objective
I mean, you
truth,
could get into the whole we only see reflected light coming to the eyes, yada yada. But yes, it is objective.
Okay, so like, are you like an infallibilist when it comes to knowledge?
A what?
An infallibilist? Like, do you think knowledge is like always true? That kind of thing. Like, do you think knowledge can be false?
Knowledge can certainly be false. Yes.
Okay, so you're a fallibilist then. So how do you know anything that how do you know anything is real?
Because it conforms to the reality.
Yeah, but like, how do you know reality is true?
Well, I don't. I mean, hard solid. You don't get out of hard solipsism with God either. So, hard
I'm
solipsism
not running a
is a
tag, by the
problem.
way. But...
I don't care. Come on.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you
kinda
just got into
comment was-
solipsism. You just got into solipsism, and you know it.
Solipsism.
Yeah, you just did. So.
Well, I'm not running a tag.
I
Guess
didn't
I was
say
running
you
a
were
tag. I'm
running
not running a
tag.
tag.
I
I'm asking
didn't. I
questions.
didn't
No,
say you were
the
running tag.
comments did. The comments did.
I don't care what the comments say. You're talking to me.
No, I was just playing for a comment. Yeah, I'm just asking questions, but
Go ahead.
stop eating in your mic. It's disrespectful. I'm not eating. What?
Just ignore the comments and talk to me, or I will say goodbye.
You know, I mean, I was just asking questions like, how do you have groundings for these things?
I've already
No,
answered
I'm
those
not here
questions.
to argue. No, I know. That's okay. That's why I came up here to ask that. What?
Okay,
That's all I
so
wanted to ask.
do you have any other questions?
No.
Okay, thanks. Great conversation.
Problem.
Yeah, talk to you
Have a
later.
good
Bye. All right. Soldier CK, hello. Are you over 18? And what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm 33, and we can talk about anything. I mean, we can pick up where the other guy left off. Talking about objective morality.
There isn't such a thing. All morality is an opinion of a creature's actions, or actually
Right, so
any
if-
action.
Right. So if morality is subjective, then for you to say that something is evil is an objective moral standpoint. You can say that it is your opinion that it's wrong to be more consistent, but for you to say that something is wrong is an objective moral standpoint.
No, it's not.
Yes, it sure is.
How? How
Because
is
you're saying
something is
objectively
wrong
that you're saying
objective? No, I'm
objectively
not.
that this is wrong.
No, I can say that is shorthand for it's my opinion. I don't have to say it's my opinion every time. This is just common conversation stuff. So, no.
No, well, to be consistent, and then even then, if
I'm I'm not speaking formally 90% of the time. I see no reason to do so. So no, it's not objective.
It sure is objective, because even then, if there is no such thing as objective morality, then there's also no such thing as moral outrage.
Oh, sure there is.
No, there isn't. You can be outraged, but you cannot be morally outraged, and it cannot be
Oh,
justified.
yes.
You
I
cannot
could
be
go that
justified.
action. Yeah, I could be justified in my opinion. I can go, in my opinion, that's really, really bad, and a whole bunch of us doing it the same way is moral outrage.
Not at all.
Sorry.
You cannot be morally outraged of justifiably over pineapples on pizza.
Yeah, sure. People
No, you
can.
cannot. Not justifiably. No, you can say that it's your opinion that is not how it's supposed to be, but you cannot say
Again, I can
objectively.
say
No,
it's wrong and not mean anything objective because that's the way conversation works.
no, not at all. You don't see people protesting in the streets over pineapple on pizza. You see people protesting in the streets over violence. You don't see people protesting over.
Yeah, so hold on. You were using. I thought you were using pineapple on pizza as a general metaphor for things that people think are wrong, and now you're jumping up from that general metaphor to something more specific. And so all you're doing is moving around on the goalposts. So you need to stop doing that. And we're just going to use pineapple on pizza as an example of anything we can think is wrong. And I can say that pineapple on pizza is wrong without speaking objectively, because that's how conversations work. We very often shortcut things when we're having a conversation to make it easier to understand. We don't always have to be formal.
Yeah, let me ask you this: do you believe that? Do you believe in? Do you believe truth is objective?
Not necessarily. 1 + 1 = 2 is true, but it does not exist outside of a mind.
Of course, it does exist outside of a mind. It's always going to be 1 + 1 is always going to = 2, whether or not I'm thinking about it.
Once there are no minds, there's no math.
Well, there's always an intelligent mind that created these numbers.
Well, you need to prove that.
Well, we're talking about objectivity, right? So 1 + 1 is always going to = 2. That's an objective statement. That's objectively true. It's not going to change. It's not a matter of opinion or emotion.
It doesn't exist outside of a mind. It's a concept.
You can say that, but you can say that, but you still have to prove that there's no mind that created that. The burden of proof is on you when you say that.
Well, so, all right, here we go. Watch this. If your God is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent, and evil exists, your God cannot logically exist. Over the last that's 1. 2, over the last 2,000 years, 2025, if you want to get technically, for this one, 2,025 years ago, we had supernatural explanations for all kinds of phenomena. We no longer do for most of, if not all of those phenomenon. All of that has been replaced by natural explanations. So I have no reason to conclude that anything outside of this universe exists, including some supermind somewhere. So that's how I prove that it doesn't exist. Now, you make the claim, so why don't you prove that it actually does exist?
Well, see, you said that we have naturalistic explanations, but we don't have any credible naturalistic explanations for certain things like biogenesis and the fine-tuning of the universe as to why we have those specific fingerprints. But for you, also to say that because evil exists, God can't be real, but you're confusing.
No, that's not what I said.
You said for God to be all powerful.
If you define your God as all powerful, all knowing, and all good, and evil exists, your God cannot logically exist. You need all three of those. You could say that your God is all powerful and all knowing, and evil could exist. You could say that your God is all good and all knowing, and evil could still exist because he doesn't have the power to get rid of it, even though he knows about it and wants to. So that is the argument.
Well, that would have to do with free will. Free will is the reason why evil exists.
No, free will does not get you out of this problem.
Free will is the reason why evil exists. It's because of free will, while people are able to choose their own actions. They can choose good or they can choose evil.
The problem that you have with that is that free will is the emergent property of a brain of the meat inside. Well, technically, I guess it's fat in between our ears, right? And so there are known states. We can actually read minds, very, very basic ways, up to 3 seconds before the thought actually becomes conscious to us. So brain states are things that an omnipotent being could know. And so your omnipotent being knows why we make all the choices that we make. And without affecting free will, he could change the universe so we wouldn't have to make those choices. For instance, one of the big things that we like to do is eat. And if we don't have enough food, we may decide to go ahead and beat somebody over the head and take their food. Well, one way to prevent that particular evil from happening is to make it so that we don't have to eat food, right? And that doesn't affect free will at all. So free will doesn't get you out of the problem.
Oh, sure. Does free will is the ability to choose whatever you want, just because just because there are limitations on.
What was the example I just used to prove that God could do something without changing free will?
I don't know. It's pretty long, but you basically concluded that free will doesn't exist, and
No, I didn't. Okay, so one evil action that we tend to do is if we are hungry and we do not have food, we will beat somebody over the head and take their food. One way that God could prevent that from happening is to give us photosynthesis or do something else so that we don't have to eat food, and that would not affect free will.
oh yeah, he's already created us this way. It would be like saying that's just fantastical thinking. Let's go back into the past and say if God would created us this way, then we'd be able to do it. That's not the way reality is, though.
I agree, it's not the way reality is. That's kind of my point.
And so that we can still conclude that God can still reach into these people's lives and provide food in different ways. It doesn't have to be that they have to have some sort of absorbing of.
Again, it doesn't really matter how he does it. I gave an example of a way he could do it. But yes, he could make food very, very plentiful everywhere. We could eat anything. We could go over and nibble and bark if we wanted. That does not affect free will. So to say that free will is the reason for evil and that therefore God isn't responsible makes absolutely no sense. Because the God you believe in is all powerful. So he has the power to make things different so that we can choose different, so that we don't have to make evil choices. And that does not affect free will at all, as I've already demonstrated.
And the only option is not to go beat somebody over the head. There are other options. You can go to a store. You can go ask for. There are charitable organizations that you can get food from.
I don't deny that. That is. But one of the things that we do as humans is we will take things from other people. Food's a really good reason for it. Are there other options? Sure there are. Now we're getting back into free will. My point isn't that there are other options. My point is that God knows this about us because he's omniscient and he's omnipotent, so he could fix this problem however he wanted to fix it, and he doesn't, right? And if he fixed it, he would not affect free will at all.
He would affect our ability to choose what we wanted to choose. It was his want to beat that guy over the head, and if God stops that, then that's affecting that person's free will to choose to do that or not.
I'm not saying God stops it. I'm saying he can remove the reason for it.
He could, right? But that would affect their free will.
Especially in my thought experiment, right? Where you don't have a person doesn't have food, they decide to hit somebody over the head to get food. If God made it so that we didn't have to not have food, we could always have food, that does not affect free will at all.
You said if God made it to where we didn't have to have food, that would not affect free will when we actually have to have food right now. So to make a change like that to our natural and our natural makeup is to affect free will. You're making a change that is not
It's not.
I don't consent. I don't consent to that.
You're missing the whole point of the thought experiment. God can make the universe any way he wanted. He chose to do it in such a way that we have reason to come to the conclusion that evil is a better path than starving. All he has to do is make it so we don't have to starve, and he will eliminate that reason for doing evil. But that doesn't do anything with free will at all.
Yes, but you're ignoring the fact that you still have the ability to choose what you want to do, and
No,
that's exactly what free will is.
I'm not saying you don't have I'm not saying that if God made it so that we didn't have to eat, that we wouldn't still beat people over the head if we wanted to, right? I'm not saying anything about that. What I'm saying is, in a particular case where I am hungry, I do not have food, I decide to hit somebody over the head to get food. If he eliminates the food as a reason, he has eliminated that evil without affecting free will.
Yes, he does, because you're taking away his need for food and saying that he doesn't need it anymore. That's
No,
affecting somebody's ability to choose
no, that's
to
not what
want
I'm
to eat
saying at
food.
all.
Yes.
No, that is not what I'm saying at all. You just don't get it. And I don't know any better way to explain it, but all I'm saying is if you fix the food problem, you fix one source of reason for violence without affecting anybody's choices on anything.
Well, see,
And
that's
you can
still
do it
even one.
from
Go ahead. I was about to say that's still just even one example. We still have other people that use their free will, their ability to choose between if they want to do good and want to do evil, to do evil. It is their free will to choose.
Yeah, and I'm saying that God could create a world where all the reasons that we use to do violence wouldn't exist.
He did create that world, and we chose to disobey him and walk away.
No,
That was
he
our free
didn't.
will.
No, he
He
didn't.
did. God
Because
created the
that
world perfectly in the beginning.
so your book says.
You can't prove that that's false.
Sure, I can. It's really, really easy. So evolution says that there is no way for humanity to have gotten started from a single male and female. We would see that in the DNA, and we don't.
Yeah. Do you know what? You say that evolution is the refutation to if the creation story was valid, but evolution has major holes in it. For one,
No, it doesn't.
yes, it does. For one, is the
So,
origin of life.
So evolution has nothing to do with origin of life. Those are two different fields of study. So no, that's not a whole. But basically, in order to deny evolution, you have to deny genes exist, because the definition of evolution is the change in allele frequency over time in a population. An allele is the group of genes responsible for an inheritable characteristic, such as eye color. So if you deny evolution, then you have to deny genes exist.
I don't know about that, but even then, like,
What do you mean you don't know about that? Go look up the definition of evolution. I'm not wrong. I could bring up the evolutionary biologist if you want. He knows
yeah,
more
no, but
about it than I do. There are no
no,
holes
that's
there are no problems with evolution, right? Because we now know more than we did 100 years ago. So no.
yeah. So how do you explain irreducible complexity?
There's no such thing as irreducible complexity.
There sure is. We have evidence to prove that there is such thing as irreducible complexity.
Prove it.
We have let's see, amoebas. I don't know what they're
No.
calling me. Let me look it
No.
up real quick.
Yeah, so once you destroy amoebas, they stop being amoebas, but that doesn't mean that the other parts of them aren't useful. That's not irreducible
One of them
complex.
is my bad. One of them is the bacteria flagellum. I think that's what it's called. Systems that
Yeah.
can't function unless every part is already in place.
Yeah, they function as something else. Right, so if I take a mousetrap, and you want to say a mousetrap is irreducibly complex because once you remove the spring and the bar and the base, it's no longer a mousetrap. That is true, it is no longer a mousetrap. But the parts still exist, and I can use those parts to make a tie, to hold other things together, and do other things.
That
There's
doesn't
nothing that's
deter from the fact
irreducibly
that
complex.
Right, that doesn't deter from the fact that that mousetrap is now useful or useless, and natural selection doesn't account for anything that's useless. It discards
It
it.
is not useless.
Yes.
It is useful in other ways.
No, we're talking about a system that has to be put together. You can't just take that system apart, that one system apart, and say we can use it for these different things.
So the
Those
point
different
I'm
parts
making is
are
that
useful, but the whole
evolution uses parts for other things. So
right. But we're
just
talking about a specific creature. You're taking a creature apart and saying that
and
it's
I'm
useful.
taking a mousetrap apart and saying that the parts are useful.
Yeah,
I
that's
take the
not.
amoeba apart and say the parts are useful, and they are useful.
Yeah, the parts are useful, but that bacteria, that mousetrap is no longer useful.
So what? There's no
And
longer useful
natural
for its
select because
intended purpose. So what?
it wasn't built. I'm sorry, it wasn't building those different parts for different things. It was building those parts for that specific mousetrap. And now that mousetrap is no longer useful, it discards it.
You're
Yes,
saying that evolution has intent. Evolution has no intent.
evolution does have intent. It tends to be perfect.
No, it
It
doesn't.
tends to.
No, in fact, if we were designed, then we would be much better designed, and we would have much better functionality than we do today. The fact that we don't have good functionality, the fact that my eyes need, I normally have to wear glasses, and I'm old enough to have to wear trifocals. All of this stuff, disease, the germ theory of disease, backaches, all this stuff is exactly what we'd expect from evolution. None of it is what we'd expect from a designer. So no, you don't get there there is no such thing as irreducible complexity. Everything can be reduced.
Yeah. So let's just say that if evolution has no intent, then it cannot claim truth or morality.
It doesn't
It
claim
cannot.
morality.
It just mutates.
Yes, evolution is the description of what we see in reality.
So you cannot claim truth or morality or even
Oh,
purpose.
sure I can, because
you
evolution.
can't.
Yes, because evolution conforms to the universe, to reality as predicted or as adjudicated by predictive power. We use evolution all the time to predict all kinds of medical benefits for humans, animals, all kinds of stuff. We use evolution to predict populations of prey animals for hunters and all kinds of stuff. So yes, evolution is, like all science, is a description of reality and how it works.
No, if evolution is true, then all you are neurons firing, and neurons firing cannot produce truth, morality, justice, any of those things.
Yeah, obviously it does, because here we are.
No, it doesn't. Neurons firing do not produce truth. You cannot.
No. So you're using produce truth like it's a magical word. No, it can describe things that are true. Truth is that which conforms to reality. Reality, it doesn't produce truth. We only describe reality, and if we describe reality correctly, then that's true. There's no such thing as producing truth. That's
So
just a
you're saying
stupid
you
thing
are.
to say.
So you are saying that evolution is subjective.
No.
Yes, because it cannot be
No,
objective.
because again, evolution is the description of the reality that we see. Therefore, it is a description of the objective reality. It is objective.
No, if evolution has no intent, it cannot aim at truth, morality, or purpose. It cannot have those different things.
Evolution doesn't aim
Yes.
at truth. Evolution has no purpose. It does not aim at anything.
Then it cannot be
Evolution has
objective.
absolutely nothing to do with morality. Nothing. Nothing to do
Then
with
it
morality.
can't produce morality. Then why does morality exist?
Morality is subjective.
No,
we've
it is
been
not
over this
subjective. Why does morality exist at all?
Morality is subjective. It exists because we have opinions of behavior or opinions on behavior.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that, but I would say that if you claim to say that evolution is the
I'll give you an
truth,
example. I will give you. So evolution is true. It is not the truth. Just you confuse your terms. Evolution is true because it accurately describes how living beings work and how they reproduce and how their allele frequencies change over time.
it observes. Yeah.
It is a description, not a prescription. You keep trying to make it a prescription, and it's not. It's a description of reality. Got anything else? Because I got 4 other people in the queue.
No, go ahead, man. I've had a
right.
pretty good talk with you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Come back anytime. Talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, man.
Well, Skeptic, I'm going to skip you for the moment. Hey, folks, follow, share this stream, get some more people on here. Gifts are always appreciated. I am trying to turn this into a full-time job, so any help along those ways would be nice. And Websy, you are up next.
Hey,
Are
how's
you
it
over
going, man?
18, and what do you want to talk about?
I am 25, yes, sir, and I want to talk about. I'm not in this disagreement with you whatsoever. I just have, one question from one atheist to another because you seem like a
Okay.
pretty smart guy. So it's just because I was in a debate with somebody earlier, Christian,
Mhm.
and it was confusing because of the whole definition of God and all that. Since obviously I was trying to explain to the guy that their God, and because he was basically saying that there's either a God or there isn't, and I was saying that was a black and white fallacy because other people's gods are not technically the same description of your God, so they're not actually the same people. So I was wondering, because I was trying to say the definition of God in general outside of any religion is simply just an all-powerful being. I would like to
No.
know your opinion on that.
So you're now putting a attribute, an intrinsic attribute on a God, and since we don't
Yeah.
accept that gods exist, why would we do that? It's like it's no different than saying Bilbo Baggins has large feet. Right? Bilbo Baggins doesn't exist and he can have large feet, so what?
Yeah.
But to define, I mean, you're also straw manning by saying that. And so let them define their God. And, it would be more correct to say either there is one or more gods or there's not one or more gods. That would be more correct. But we can get into those types of semantics and never move the conversation forward.
Yeah.
Which was something I was trying to explain to somebody else, and I really wish I had said that. But very often we shortcut things in conversation to make ourselves more understandable, because the more
Yeah.
words we put into a sentence, the harder it is to understand. So you just kind of have to decide at what you're trying to accomplish, and if he just says that and it's not part of where you're driving to or the point you're trying to make, I don't think you need to get pedantic about it necessarily. But that's not a hard and fast rule. That may be the point, right? Either God exists or he doesn't. Well, which God? Any of them? Well, that doesn't work either because different religions have one or more gods. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're basically saying that there is no objective like if I were to say what is God, it's only what the other people think. There is no objective definition of what is a God.
Yes. Yeah, because words are subjective.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. A
Okay.
zebra is a word that is subjective. The
Yeah.
thing that the word zebra refers to is objective. And that is another thing that can be kind of hard for a distinction. Sometimes it's a distinction without much of a difference in normal conversation. But when you start talking philosophy, it can really get messy.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and that's
So
true of a lot of things like hard solipsism. That's true. You can, there's all types of ways to split that, but honestly, what it comes down to is we have to deal with the universe we're in, whether we're brains in a vat or not.
okay. So,
So
oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say so because at one point, the guy was describing, his God, saying it was all loving, things like that, and that confused me for a sec because I felt like he was attributing a personality to a God. But you're saying basically I was strawmanning him from the beginning because God in general isn't just some powerful being; it's whatever the other person thinks it is. There is no objective.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So another example would be Shintoism is about spirits, and spirits aren't necessarily gods, but for some conversations, you may allow that, even though it's
Hmm.
not technically true. And I
Okay.
think Native Americans have, some Native Americans at least, have the concept of a great spirit. And for some conversations, you may allow that to be God as well.
Yeah.
But God should always at least be I mean, the Webster definition is probably best. And so the concept of God should always have some supernatural element to it. So if they say, well,
Yeah.
your money is your God, well, money is not supernatural, so can't really be a God. And
That makes
that doesn't
sense.
have to do with the objective of a God, right? God being objective. It has to do with the subjective way that we use words.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And also, do you believe with the description that Buddhists are technically atheists?
Yes. They are
Okay.
technically atheists, but they don't. But some of them do believe in supernatural. So you can be an atheist and still believe in the supernatural.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That was at one point I was trying to explain to the guy that he was describing naturalistic atheism, and but there are like actual categories of them. It's not just one complete umbrella of the same beliefs. It's just a disbelief in God.
Right. It's an answer to a single proposition. Is all atheism is at its core. There's too many of us atheists, and we're too hard-headed to do anything more than that. That's also why it's not a worldview. So another thing that people make the mistake of is say atheism is a worldview because Christianity is a worldview.
Uh,
Christianity is a subset of theists. So atheist and theist are not worldviews. If you're a monotheist, we get a little closer to a worldview, but it's still not a worldview.
yeah.
And then if we get into Abrahamic gods or an
Hmm.
Abrahamic God, then we get more into a worldview. And then if you say Christian or Islam or Judaism, now we're starting to get more into worldview because now we have answers to more questions about how we view the world. And that's what a worldview is. So that's another place that people will sometimes get hung up on, is saying that Christianity is a worldview, therefore atheism is a worldview. And they're making a category error because
Okay.
Christianity is a subcategory of theism. And atheism doesn't have subcategories. I mean, it would make that I'm aware of. Somebody could come up with some subcategories that would be kind of interesting. But
Oh, I
yeah,
mean, you wouldn't consider atheists that believe in spirits a subcategory because they don't believe in God. It's just
no,
spiritual.
because again, atheism is an answer to a single proposition. Whether or not the supernatural exists is an answer to a different proposition.
I understand. Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, it's very specific. It's very specific. Okay, I get you.
Yeah,
I get you.
this is this, and I to kind of bring this back full circle. This is a difference between being very formal in our conversation and being informal in our conversation. So, if somebody wants to
Yeah.
argue Christianity is a worldview, therefore atheism is a worldview. Is it really mundane to the overall conversation you're trying to have? If it isn't, it doesn't matter, right? Stay focused on what you want to do and what you're trying
Yeah.
to say. Don't let them knock you off course like that. Unless, of course, it's just entertaining, in which case, yeah, sure, whatever. I mean, it's your conversation, right?
Yeah. That's, yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
All right.
all
All
right,
right.
thanks.
Two more.
I got
Oh,
someone
sorry.
else coming up. So, did you
All
have
right, man.
anything else?
All right. Just one more question.
Okay.
How would you, as an atheist yourself, deal with the proposition of what's your opinion on Christopher Hitchens?
Hitchens
Wait,
is the
my
greatest
context.
orator of my time.
My
Greatest atheist
context to that
orator. Yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
my context to that question is just that there are a lot of people in the community that believe new atheism was like kind of harmful, but I don't see how Hitchens himself was harmful. I thought his debates were fine.
No. Hitchens is a wonderful orator. I need to listen to him more so that I can start working on my skills in that direction. But yeah.
All right, thank
And
you,
there's
man.
no such thing as new atheism. It's just atheism.
Yeah, this is just a description of a movement, I guess. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, all
All
right, man.
right.
It was good talking
Thanks,
to you,
Wubsy.
dude.
Talk to you later. Bye.
No problem, man.
All right. Up next is, I'm going to call you Cookie because that's what it looks like the icon is. Maybe it's a pizza. I don't know.
Hello? Yeah,
So
can you hear me?
what should I call you? Are you over 18? And what are we going to talk about?
Hey, yeah, Cookie's great.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Sweet. So I was just wondering, even though, you're an atheist and you're obviously gonna ultimately reject it, what is your favorite argument for the existence of God?
They're all equally bad because they all fail. So to have a favorite failure doesn't make any sense to me.
Sure.
But also, in general, I don't have a whole lot of favorites. I don't tend to think of things in that way. So that's also problematic for me personally. Other atheists will have other opinions. But for me,
Gotcha.
like I don't have a favorite food. I have foods I eat a lot, but I wouldn't say that pizza is a favorite or that Mexican food is a favorite, etc. They're just things I like and listen to or eat or do other things too. But I don't do favorites personally.
Gotcha. Yeah,
But
no, that totally makes sense.
mhm.
Totally. Do you think that like some arguments for the existence of God, I guess, fail more than others? Like, for example, like, do you see the ontological argument failing more than, say, I don't know, like the teleological argument?
um, No, because the problem is that a argument either succeeds or it fails. So they all fail, and anything else other than that, um, they all fail for different reasons. And so now you've got to qualify those reasons, and I don't really care to. They all fail, and that's all we can really say about it. Um, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no, I totally hear you. All right. Thanks for your time.
Yep.
Have a good night.
You too. That's always an interesting question. What is your favorite? And it's like I don't have any, and they all fail. So to quantify them doesn't make any sense. Um, yeah, and the weak agnostic atheist stuff I don't get into too much. I guess technically I'm a strong atheist since I do actually make the claim that gods don't exist, but Yes, Annie Woozle, we're not a religion. Not by the most common usage of the word religion. Yes. I'm not sure what Taco Man is arguing about there. I suppose I could scroll up. Hey, folks, don't have anybody in the queue. Oh, thank you, Lathe of Heaven. Yeah, I was on in 2010, wasn't I? Yeah, thanks for making me feel old. No, so Yeshua, I actually can prove that God doesn't exist, and I have two arguments for it. The first is the problem of evil, that God is illogical and therefore cannot exist. And the second one is that I have absolutely no reason to conclude that anything supernatural exists. Every supernatural explanation that we had 2,000 years ago for phenomena has been superseded by natural explanations for those phenomenon. And I would say almost all. There may be some that we just don't have an explanation for. But because of that, to conclude that a God is probable just makes no sense. And just because a God is possible, well, it's also possible that pigs will fly out of my lily white backside. Just because it's possible doesn't mean it's probable. And the Fenex atheism is a piece of a worldview. Yes, it is a stance on one particular part of a worldview. So yes, so Fenix, birds of a feather flock together. But I know atheists who are Trump fans, and I know atheists who believe that the moon landings were faked. So, you know. That was a fun conversation. I proved him wrong by the first Google search. Is the aloneness arc? What is the aloneness? Oh, the aloneness argument. I have no idea what the aloneness argument is. So, Corey King, I am concerned about what others believe in. I'm not concerned with other people's belief in. I'm concerned about other people's ability to critically think. However, beliefs inform actions, and actions have consequences. If I believe, for instance, that all immigrants are criminals, then I will take actions that are not necessarily good based on that bad information. So, yeah, I mean, I do care, but I'm really more interested in critical thinking, because if you think critically enough, then what you believe is most likely to be true. But yeah, beliefs have consequences, or beliefs inform actions, actions have consequences. Well, yeah, chasing an atheists are evil, and we don't help when we make baby eating jokes. So, yeah. The aloneness argument. I'm not sure what the aloneness argument is. Taco Man, if you want to come up and talk about the aloneness argument, that would be fun. And if you guys could share the stream, let other people know, invite some Christians to come on up, that would be great too. Don't forget to follow, like the stream, do all those fun things with the stream. One of the things that I have been trying to do, since my first days on the Atheist Experience, longer than that, but publicly, the Atheist Experience, is get somebody to give me a list of the so-called 1,000 or 2,000 or however many prophecies there are for Jesus Christ. I have a list of 55 I'm going through, and it's like, oh, these are all horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Some aren't even prophecies. They're just, hey, this sentence fragment sounds like Jesus, we'll use it. Others aren't made by a prophet, or even from God or any type of supernatural source. And it's just like that, no. So that's always fun. Lathe of Heaven, thank you for sharing the live. Mater Felix, thank you for sharing the live. Lathe of Heaven, do you want to come up and have a conversation? I'm going to assume you're a Christian. And they hearted me and sent me some corn. I guess, well, I could be more corny, I guess. Yeah, Noah's Ark is problematic. Yeah, I forget which Isaiah it is not a great prophecy, because you have to take it out of context. The one where they pierce my hands and feet and all the rest of that, tear my clothing. Yeah, you're taking that they have to take that out of context. It's not one I've covered yet in my search. So, you're an atheist. All right. But if any guys, I'm willing to have any type of conversation. Conversations are probably better than just me rambling, although I can ramble. We can ramble a little bit about one of my favorite problems with Noah's story is the boat. How did it survive? It really shouldn't have. And if it did survive, not only are you cleaning out extraordinary amounts of waste every day, but you're also going to have to deal with terrified animals because that boat is not going to stay stable. No boat in 50, 60-foot waves is going to stay stable, especially not one that can't stay bow or stern onto the waves. And so, yeah, you're going to have animals and humans probably puking quite a bit. Yeah, Green Angle, even as a metaphorical story, the ark Noah's flood is just not a good metaphor. I mean, what was the metaphor here? God got mad and killed everybody. therefore fear God. Last time I checked, fear as a motivating tool was generally frowned on these days. So why would God, who's supposed to be omnipotent, use a very negative tool that will cause more harm than good? I don't know. Spaceship been a better story, yeah. Applying logic to the Bible stories, yeah, I know, it's a horrible thing to do. Well, yeah, Answers in Genesis makes up all kinds of crazy stuff. It was a year, and some animals grow quite a bit in a year, and in order for them to grow, they have to have food, food storage, waste management, puke management, and dealing with terrified animals is all problematic without even getting into the science of, that much water showing up on the planet all at the same time would cause the planet to turn into plasma. So, yeah, destroyed by, well, they didn't use gopher wood, whatever gopher wood is. So they used modern materials. That was their problem. And it didn't float, which is a whole different problem. And the fact that the Ark is a wood boat that is longer than the longest wood boat we've ever made in history, and that cracked because wood just wasn't capable of handling the stresses is also, of course, problematic. But then you get that magical gopher wood, so who knows? Oh, well, so I suppose from a certain point of view, the animals interbreeding would have been prevented by them being put in cages. But yeah, so ligers and all the other tiger, lion, jaguar half breeds. There's a fish. One was in Russia, and the other one was here in the United States. I think it was a sturgeon here, and I forget what the one in Russia was. But they are separated not only by continents, but also by millions of years of evolution. They were able to breed. Does that mean they were the same species? Technically, even though genetically they weren't. There's a problem with species definitions, of course. Yeah, 8 humans as a population would actually show up in our genetics, and we just don't see it. Yeah, fear as a motivator, regardless of how you want to use it, is bad. CEOs that use it are generally frowned on as I should really put this over here so I can look at everything in the same place. Stephen, are you over 18, and what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I just had a couple quick questions. Yes, I'm over 18, I'm 35 years old.
Cool. Okay.
What's your definition of a mind, and what's your definition of designed?
Well, let me go grab Webster's.com, and I will give you those definitions. Unless, of course, you just
I guess a better question is that can you give me an example of evidence that if the universe was designed, what would be an example that you'd say, oh, that's proof?
So there's a problem with the teleological argument. 2 problems with the teleological argument. The only way you could prove there's 2 ways you could prove something is designed. One, you can produce the designer and have them tell you how it was designed, which is a moot point because you got to then prove God exists. And then the other way is to take the thing and compare it to other things that are natural or designed. So, for instance, if I take this, and let's say I've never seen it, and there's no manufacturer name on it, and I've never seen an object like this before, the way I would tell if it was designed or not would be to go and say, let's start with the shape. And do I see this shape in nature? Well, that's probably not natural, but let's continue on. I don't know what this is made of, and I discover it's made of plastic, and I realize that plastic is not a natural substance. We don't see plastic anywhere naturally. This metal is an alloy, and we don't see this alloy anywhere. So I would then conclude that it is, in fact, manufactured or designed.
Is another way of saying that if something is going against the probability of something naturally occurring? That, because in theory, in quantum mechanics, you could say that could randomly occur, but the odds are so low that it seems likely that it was designed, because it just seems unlikely that it would randomly generate, right?
Well, it doesn't fit with anything we see in nature. Quantum mechanics doesn't really have to do with it, since we're not dealing with the quantum realm. But just to continue on
But
with
it's
that
made of
thought,
atoms, and there's
no,
quantum
well,
mechanic
let me,
theory about atoms.
yeah, let me continue on with that, with what I was going to say. The problem that we have is that we only have one universe. We don't have another universe. And the best hypothesis that, we just have hypotheses about other universes existing. We don't really have any hard proof. We're still looking for a way to prove that anything exists outside of our universe, or if outside of our universe even has a meaning, right? So we still have some physics problems to look at, and so we can't take this universe and compare it to another universe. So we can't
No, I get
tell.
that, but I'm saying that, like, do you agree with the concept that if something seems highly unlikely to have been generated, given the laws of physics or whatever you want to call it, given the rules of the situation, that's your determination that it was designed? Because you said in your example,
Well,
oh,
no, it's not. Well, so we could only conclude. We could only come to. I mean, you're going to run into the black swan fallacy, right? All I need to do is find one natural occurring object that looks exactly like this, made the same way, and my conclusion that this was designed is wrong. So we can only say there's a high likelihood that that was designed based on what I just
so
said.
so how do you determine? So back to the original questions, how do you determine that? Because I'm just using your premise. How do you determine something was in fact designed?
Right. So you compare it to other things that are either natural or designed.
Okay, but you just use the word design to describe design. That's a
No,
loop
I said
definition.
no. You didn't hear what I said. You compare the object in question to
Mm-hmm.
other things that are natural or designed. It's a
But
comparison
you're
that you're
using the
making.
word designed in the definition of designed.
I'm not defining design. I'm telling you how to determine if something is designed.
That's what I'm asking. How do you define something as designed?
Let me go look at Webster's dictionary. Webster Publishing Company. There we go.
I guess the main premise is that if something, like if we looked at the planet Mars, right, and we determined certain molecules, because they do know like certain molecules that cannot really exist naturally, that these molecules must have been generated through life,
Yes, that
so
is my point.
you,
You compare the object in question to other things that you know to be designed or natural. I've said
okay,
that
so
about
would you
5
say
times
that, like,
so
the,
far.
the universe is designed to, when it was just hydrogen, it was essentially designed to inevitably make helium stars and all the
No,
elements?
I don't know if it was designed, because I have no reason to conclude that there is in fact a designer.
No, but I'm saying that it was assembled to do that, because if you just take time and entropy with hydrogen stars, you could easily conclude that, oh, there would be helium and other elements.
Yeah, because that's just what happens because of the laws of physics. That's how it, the laws of physics are descriptive, not prescriptive. But to say that was
Sure.
designed,
So
it's
do you
just
know
a
about the
natural
fine tuning
occurring thing.
problem? Do you know
Yeah,
about the
it's
fine tuning
bullshit.
problem?
Yeah, it's bullshit. It was defeated in court, and it should stay defeated in court.
Okay, so explain, given that there's a probability of any value for the strong or weak force, it seems, unlikely that, it would
Yes, if the law,
if those constants.
if the constants of the universe were different, the universe would be different.
Yeah, it would collapse. It would cease to exist.
Like I said, it would be different. Yes.
Okay, so doesn't that seem an example of against probable odds?
No. So the problem that you're going to run into, if I have a
Mhm.
million six-sided dice, the odds of rolling all ones is against me. The odds of
Mhm.
rolling all sixes is against me. In fact, the odds of rolling any sequence is against the odds, right? Doesn't matter what the sequence is.
Yes.
Every sequence
Yep.
is unlikely. So does that mean when I roll the dice won't roll?
It means you could still roll the dice, but
I will end up
it
with a
just
sequence
seems
no matter
highly.
how improbable it is, right?
Yeah, you end up with a sequence. Yeah, sure.
Right. So that's the problem with what you're saying, and you're dealing with probability, is that just because something is improbable means that there's a chance, right? To quote the movie, in a far worse situation than we're looking at. But yeah, I'm going to roll the dice, and I want to come up with a sequence. That sequence, the odds are always against it. And if it's a million of them, they're really against it, right? I just pick however many dice you want to equal whatever you think the probability is. And the other problem you have is we don't know what the probability is, because we don't really know how many other universes there are, or
No,
possible
but we can do the
universes there are.
math of the constants. We can definitely do the math of the constants of the
Right, but
probability. We already know that math.
But you also then need to go ahead and do the experiments to prove that the math you're doing is correct.
No. We can do math. We can know these things. We
I'm not
predicted
saying you
black
can't
holes
do
before
math,
we
but
discovered them.
right. But so why did we build the big super collider to prove the Higgs boson existed when mathematically we knew it did?
I don't know if we mathematically knew that it did.
Yes. The reason we know the Higgs boson existed is because of a bump on a curve. And that curve is produced by math, and the experimental results bore that out. And so we had to use the experiment to prove the math, because we can do all kinds of math and get into, and that's one of the reasons why singularities.
But are you implying that we shouldn't believe the Big Bang until we have experiment to prove the Big Bang?
We have a number of experiments and a number of ways to prove the Big Bang outside of the math. Yes.
So great. So great. No, we haven't prove. There's a lot of things that we believe in science that we don't have evidence. Higgs boson was one
No.
of them. Are you suggesting it would be okay to not agree about the Higgs boson until it was proven?
No, quantum physicists believe that it existed because of the math, but they needed to demonstrate that the math was correct.
No, I'm asking, do you think it would be okay to believe in the Higgs boson because the math proved it? Because there's a lot of things in science that mean you probably believe, and we don't have necessarily proven.
It depends on the math, right? If you're building the math to prove the Higgs boson on other things that are known, then yes, you can come to a reasonable conclusion that this seems to be the case. And yet, the physicists did that, and they said, you know what? We need to build a super collider so we can prove it.
Because but the point is that you could believe.
Math is descriptive. And if you want to know if your description is correct, you got to compare it to the real thing.
Sure, but it doesn't take crazy math. It takes basic arithmetic to understand the strong force and the weak force and the different things that could occur. It's not like complex math like the Higgs boson. This is basic arithmetic that if the strong force and weak force weren't the values of the constants, the universe would either have collapsed instantly or it would expand into nothing, and life and entropy, life itself or entropy wouldn't exist.
Yeah, and now we're back at my million six-sided dice example. Yes.
Yeah, but that's inconsistent because you said that if we let me finish the point. If you detected that there's certain molecules on another planet, which you agreed that if those molecules really can only be generated through life, it seems like a high likelihood, because via quantum mechanics, there's still a likelihood of any atom doing anything. It just seems unlikely. So you can never say everything was certain, but you can say there's a likelihood.
Yeah.
So you can't say that this was just random when it seems likely that it was pointed out that way.
But how do you determine it's likely to be created if we only have one universe? If you have a sample size of one, how do you determine the probability of anything?
I don't need to have other universes to prove it because I understand probability.
No, you don't. If you think that.
No, if you can look at a result.
Probability. So you need two numbers for probability, right?
Yeah. What happened and what's the possibility of happening?
No, you need the total number of probabilities, right?
Yep.
So if I have a six-sided dice, the bottom number is 6.
Yep.
And if I want to know what the odds of 3 of the numbers coming up, that's 3 out of 6, right?
Yep.
You don't have that bottom number for universes. We only have one
No,
universe
we
to
have
look at.
we have a number system and we have constant values. It's like saying x equals 10. We know
No,
that the majority
we
numbers are not
don't.
10, but we
No, we
do.
don't.
Do you not understand
No.
numbers?
No, I understand numbers. You don't understand the constants. If the constants were different, the universe would be different. That is a fact. What we don't know is how many different universes there are that would actually produce life. And
No, I'm
we
asking the
have,
universes there are. I'm asking the possibility of the constants is and what values they could have been.
but those are the constants that govern the universe, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So again, we're back to my million dice, and we're also back to we need to know how many other possible universes could actually exist, and we have models,
That could exist.
but
We're not talking about what could exist.
yes,
We're talking about the variables of those numbers. Those numbers have values. We can predict the probability of those numbers. There's only so many numbers in a timeline in which would have created the universe that all this could exist.
no. No,
What
I
okay.
reject that based on the fact that so one of the things we don't know about the constants is there some constant underlying those constants? We don't know that yet, as far as I know. I should actually ask a physicist friend of mine if that is true. But just because those constants can be different values means that the universe would be different. And you can't get around that with claiming things on a number line, right? The odds of this universe being generated, no matter how against
No,
it
they
there
would
are,
interact differently.
yeah, the
No,
universe
they
would
would
be different.
interact different and the universe would cease to exist. And the
And
universe would either expand or cease to exist. It's a variance of 2%, just for your information.
how do you conclude that when you don't know how many possible universes there are? I mean,
No,
this is the
We're not talking
problem.
about possible universes. We're talking about the probability of a certain
Yeah,
thing being a value. Like
yeah, we
gravity
don't know
has a
what the
strength.
probability of any other universe is.
No, yeah, we do. We know the numbers. We know the probability of those numbers.
No, because we don't know. We don't have We don't have any way to demonstrate that the math is correct because we only have this universe to look at.
No. Like there's these constant. Like there's strong force and weak force has a certain ratio of pressure. We have math on
Yes,
this
and
that if they were
if they were
2%
different, the
stronger,
universe would be different. We'd have a different universe or no
no, that would be
universe.
different. It would cease to exist. It's not different. It would cease to exist. You're implying as if it could have been another universe with different constants and we'd be different aliens. I'm saying it would cease to exist. There's a different type of argument, and the majority of those number of values would cease to exist.
Okay, and
And it seems so. You could say it's highly likely that it was designed that way, no different than the molecules
no,
on another
no,
planet.
no, you can't because you have to eliminate natural causes.
What natural causes?
Exactly, that's my point.
Yeah, that doesn't answer the question. Like if
I don't know
weak
what
force is
natural
strong
causes,
force
but
could have
you
been
need to
any.
eliminate them. If you need to eliminate natural causes in order to
See,
conclude
like that's
that
why I
there's a
asked, like,
creator.
what's an example that you would say, oh, that was designed?
I gave you that
Because no matter
example.
what I say, you're just going to jump around.
No, I'm not jumping around. My point is that we only have one universe to look at, right? Because the way you determine if something is designed is by taking the object in question and compare it to things that you know are or are not designed.
But you're using the word design within definition of design. That's a
I'm
circular
not giving
definition.
you a definition of design. I'm giving you a
So
methodology
how do you know
for
something's
proving
designed if you
something
don't
is
know the
designed.
definition of designed?
I
How
didn't
do you
say
know
I
the
didn't know
definition of something's designed?
I didn't say I don't know what the definition of designed is. I said I'm giving you a methodology for proving something is designed. And the way you do that is you take the object in question and you compare it to other things that are either known to be
So
designed
are you
or known
drawing a
not to be.
conclusion? Are you drawing a conclusion that the universe isn't designed?
I don't know what it is because we don't know enough about what caused the universe to come to any conclusion.
So you're agnostic about it. You're not saying it's not designed.
I will say I will go a step further. I will say it is given that for the last 2,000 years ago, we had supernatural explanations for all kinds of phenomena. And over the last 2,000 years, science has proven that almost all of those phenomena have natural causes, that I have no
But
reason to conclude that anything that there's anything but natural causes.
But you just said that you can't know some design without a comparison. So if there's not another universe we can compare, you can't make a
I'm
comparison by your
saying
own
that
logic.
I'm saying it seems highly unlikely that there's anything supernatural, given what
No,
we've
you're just
seen
talking
so
about
far.
physics, but based on what you
Yes,
said, you can't determine something's design without knowing if there's another universe. So,
yes,
like the fact you
and
say highly unlikely means
I
you're
think
drawing a
it's
conclusion.
right. What kind of conclusion am I drawing when I say it's highly unlikely? What kind of conclusion?
I'm just saying, based on your framework, how could you draw any conclusion when you don't have another universe to compare it to?
Because I have, over the last 2,000 years, we have replaced every supernatural explanation for phenomena with natural explanation.
That doesn't answer the question. I don't know if
Yes, it
you're hearing
does.
yourself. You said to know something's design. You said you compare it with other things. Since there's no other universe to compare it
Right.
to,
And when I say something is highly unlikely, what kind of conclusion is that? Is it a deductive or inductive or abductive conclusion?
yeah, that doesn't answer. Like, I don't know if you're hearing the words. I used your logic, and why would you drawing any conclusion if there's not another universe you compare to?
So I am making an inductive conclusion because I am using probability. I'm not making an
I just
absolute.
showed you probability highly
No.
unlikely.
Yes, it's
You
highly
see, that's the
unlikely
issue.
that
You can't
anything
define what
outside the
design is.
natural.
This is
Sure, I can. Designed, as in plan, as in scheme, as in purpose, something that one hopes or intends to accomplish. And then we get into antonyms. And that is the noun. Designed, to create as a verb, to create, fashion, execute, or construct according to plan, to conceive and plan out in the mind. Archaic, to indicate with a distinctive mark, sign, or name, to make a drawing, pattern, or sketch. Those are all definitions. There's a difference between a definition for design and a process for determining design, which he could not apparently figure out. All right, if you guys could share the stream, get some more theists up here. And follow me if you would like to. Is it Cadence? Why don't you come on up and let's talk about your client? Oh, I have somebody. And well, they dropped. Okay. Yeah, Taco Man. If I was using Bayesian probability, I would, but you know. Cadence, just because people change their minds doesn't mean that the reason they change their minds is actually true. It just means they changed their minds. You're depressed, now you're not depressed because you believe in God. That doesn't prove God exists. So, just because people change their minds because of a proposition does not make the proposition true. Yes, I would suggest that if you actually had clinical depression, that believing in God wouldn't change that. So it probably wasn't clinical depression. And so change in circumstances will often make people happier. Also, I wish you'd come up, but, you know, and I'm assuming it's Cadence. I could be wrong. I can't really read that. It's way too small for me. I apologize. But yeah, if you'd come up, it would be easier. I don't like just slamming people up, so I will invite you if I have to, or if you need me to. So, yeah, and Cadence, the Harvard has been studying happiness for at least 80 years in one study, and they have shown that happiness is directly related to the number of friends, people you know. So by joining a church, you automatically know more people, and so that will actually fix that. So, you know, you need to eliminate that natural cause of just being around more people and having more friends, getting you out of that depression, assuming it was not a clinical depression. So, yes, I was. I'm not a mathematician, so when I say I'm not using Bayesian, I'm not intentionally using Bayesian, even though I may be doing it accidentally. Taco Man. Well, Lily Bean 27, why don't you come on up and tell me what characteristics your God has, and let's see if you can prove it exists. It's not the God of the Bible. Which God, and it's not the God of any religion, what characteristics does it have? How do we know it exists? Hey, thanks, West Indian. I enjoyed being on with Matt, and I need to talk to him and get back on the line again, because he is fun to work with. Alan A. Oh, I see a Chi-Chi. Spinning. There we go. Hey, Chi-Chi. Are you over 21, and what do you want to talk about?
Yes, I am. And
Fantastic.
I'm curious. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. I'm curious why you believe there's no gods.
So there are two reasons. One, the tri-omni God, the omni-good or omnibenevolent, omniscient, omnipotent God cannot exist if there is evil in the world. That is a logical contradiction. And so that's the first reason. And the second reason is that over the last 2,000 years, let me rephrase that. 2,000 years ago, we had supernatural explanations for a number of phenomenon. Over the last 2,000 years, we've replaced those supernatural explanations for those phenomena with natural explanations, to the point where I have no idea how to come to the conclusion that the supernatural even exists, much less exists. And so it just doesn't seem likely that a God actually exists.
Okay, so you brought up the problem of evil, which is something that has been studied for 3,000
Yeah, and are
years.
you going? Well, yeah, probably. Well,
So I would
2,500,
like to,
2,500 maybe, but I no need to nitpick that. Yeah, are you going to
No,
go with free will?
I would definitely argue 3,000 years. But so anyways, I'd like to discuss the problem of evil with you, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. So what is your issue? Where do you find it illogical that evil exists and therefore God doesn't exist?
So my question is if you believe that evil exists,
Don't give me a question. I want a positive
right?
statement that affirms
Well,
that because evil exists and God exists,
right.
those
But
are
it is a
mutually
series of if
exclusive.
questions, right? It is a series
No,
of
no,
if
no, no, no,
questions.
no, no,
The
no.
original problem of
It's a
evil.
positive. It's a positive statement.
If your God is omnipotent and omnibenevolent and omniscient, then if evil exists, your God cannot possibly exist. And the reason
Why?
is that because if he's omnibenevolent, he does not want evil to exist.
Why?
Goes with the definition of omnibenevolent, or the definition of
No, it
benevolent.
doesn't.
Yeah. So hold
It
on.
definitely doesn't. Can you actually can you give me supporting arguments for that?
Yeah. So benevolent. There
All
we go.
good.
Going to Webster's. Marked by kindness or generosity, disposed to doing good, organized for the purpose of doing good, marked by or suggestive of goodwill.
Well,
That is the most common
we all know what
usage.
all good means. Move
Right.
on.
And so the one that I'm using is organized for the purpose of doing good. I'm using that
Yeah.
usage of the word benevolent, marked by kindness
Yeah.
or generosity, disposed to doing good. So if he is all of those things to the whatever maximal logical amount there is, right, then he does not want evil, because that goes into having
Wrong.
evil would not be suggestive of goodwill. It would not be suggestive of
Yes, it
the
would be.
purpose of doing good, disposed to doing good. Now,
Can I explain how it can be?
no, let me finish. So,
Okay. I
if
mean,
your
you're just
God
gonna
is
be doing something
omnibenevolent,
that's already been described 2,000 years ago. But go ahead.
yeah. So, if he's omnibenevolent, then he does not want evil to exist. If he is
That is not
omnipotent,
what
then he has the power.
omnibenevolent means. That's not what omnibenevolent
All
means.
benevolent means All disposed to doing good. I'm using this
No, no,
right
no,
out
no.
of the dictionary.
No, omnibenevolent. The dictionary is prescriptive, not descriptive. First
I
of all,
agree,
second of
and I'm
all,
telling you how I'm
second.
using the
Well,
word.
okay. So can I finish? Second of all, omnibenevolent means that he's all good, which means he is all of goodness. Okay, go.
Right. So I'm using
It doesn't
benevolent.
mean he causes only good things. It means that
I
he
am
is all.
using benevolent as disposed to doing good, marked by the standard
Yeah.
Webster's dictionary here, right?
So now
So
we
that
have to
is
describe what is good.
right. And
So for
so
instance, I'll give you an example. Like, I think that an all good God does want certain virtues to be expressed within his creation. Some of those virtues might be competency. Some of them might be bravery, courage. Some of them might be holding fast to their beliefs.
and this is your
All of
opinion,
these.
correct?
Wait. I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna land the plane. All of these things require some sort of like a sense of evil, a sense of non-goodness in order to combat them, because you can't have courage without that. You can't have bravery without that. You can't have self-sacrifice without that. These are all really good reasons to
Aren't
believe
those
that God is
only-
still wait. These are still all good reasons to believe that God is still omnibenevolent, and this is why bad
let me interrupt you.
circumstances
So
still exist.
The problem that you have is that wanting courage means that you have to have evil. Therefore, a benevolent God would not require us to want courage, because that would require evil, right?
No, wrong.
Yes.
Because an all good God would want all good virtues. So in one of those all good virtues would be courage and bravery.
How do you determine
He
what
wants
those
a
virtues
world
are?
that exhibits all good virtues.
Why are virtues good?
All good virtues would be courage and bravery and self-sacrifice.
Why do those matter if you don't have any reason for
Because
them?
that's what an all good God would want. An all good God would want these virtues
That's
to
your
exist in
claim.
his world, in his creation.
That's your claim, and my claim is that an all good God wouldn't need
I mean,
any
your
of those
claim
virtues.
is just wrong. My claim is right.
Oh, yeah. All right. If you're going to go there, then, we might as well go ahead and end the conversation now, right? All right. Thanks, Chi-Chi.
I mean,
that
if
was
you're
a
going to
horrible
be
conversation. All right. Yeah. You're wrong and I'm right is not a conversation. It is just posturing. For something, no, God does not sustain and keep the earth here. The laws of physics do. Physics does. The way the universe is designed, basically gravity. And what do you mean by right distance from the sun? Because our orbit takes us multiple distances from the sun. Yeah, so Bolowen, whenever a theist says you're going to see God soon, don't worry. It means you've lost the conversation. You've lost the argument by my own personal definition. So, because that's all you've got is you'll find out when you're dead. Means you have no good arguments. So, Bolowen, are you just going to keep repeating the same thing over and over again? If so, bye-bye. And he is blocked. Yeah. I am the only person monitoring the chat, so that could be problematic. I know. We don't know if they find animals in space. We find prebiotic chemicals in space. No, Ethan Powell, because he was spamming my chat, and it was Bolowen, and you can just see he's just saying the same thing over and over again every couple of seconds, so I blocked him. I try not to block people, but spamming and doing that is exactly what it is. It's not good for chat. Nobody wants to see that. I don't want to see that anyway. I don't. It is my chat, so I guess I get to say what it is. Yeah, if you go up and look at that, that's ridiculous. if you're arguing in good faith, trying to say the same thing over and over again, that is one thing, but just that. Yeah, slurs I try to stay away from. Spamming I definitely stay away from. So slurs are another thing that means that you have, although I am very tempted to start calling every MAGA piggy, but that's a whole different thing. Whole different thing. So anyway, share the stream. Let's get some more Christians up here, theists of any kind. Or if you're an atheist, you just want to chat about something, that's cool too. Chats are fun, especially if we can talk about really, really fun things. Yeah, the other kind of maggots. The maggots with an two A's. Yes, they are people. Weren't you just wondering about slurs and isn't calling people non-humans a slur? Or was that somebody else who was talking about not wanting to see slurs? Yes, yeah. Boats? Oh, boats are cool. Boats are awesome. I need to get back on. I think calling human beings non-humans is at worst slur adjacent. So, yeah, I really do enjoy sailing. Moving quietly over the ocean is just a whole lot of fun. Hey, thank you for liking the live. Yeah, like I said, at worst, it's slur adjacent. So, and it's easy to fall into that kind of stuff. I get it. I think piggy is also a slur, but on the other hand, they started it, and I'm just tired of it, and that's okay too. And mostly, Phoenix, I was just giving you a hard time. You're not even close to being obnoxious with it, so don't take me seriously. I should have made that. I probably didn't make that clear enough that I was just just giving you a hard time. So I hope you're still in chat, and I didn't. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Hey, thanks for all the likes, folks. Wow, 2.5 hours. Almost 2.5 hours. That'll be my longest stream yet. So still looking for some folks who want to have a chat. My two favorite prompts are up there. Hey, Godless Engineer. I think he just scrolled right on by. I was hoping he'd. Oh, are you actually here? Hey, G, if you want to come up and have a conversation, we can. I hope everything is going better and that they have pulled you off of furlough. That would be nice. And I'm actually getting some people calling me on my resume, so hopefully I'll be working soon. We'll see how that goes. Knock on wood. So, but G, if you want to come up and have a conversation, that'd be cool. I enjoy our conversations. And I don't think we've actually had a chance just to banter back and forth for a little bit. We've always had people to talk to, so that might be fun. Or we could talk about, the shared senators that we have. That would, anyway. Hey, Cam Rubix. John, yeah. Well, I saw his name pop up. I think he was just scrolling past and didn't actually stop. Although I see his name not in the chat box, but in another box that I haven't figured out exactly how to figure out who is actually here and who isn't. So, yeah, I think Patrick. I think he just scrolled on by. hypothetically West Indian of aliens. If aliens were to design life, I don't think they would design bipedal folks. Hey, Cam Rubix, are
Hey.
you
Hey,
over 18, and what do you want to talk about?
oh no, I was here before. I don't know if you
Okay.
remember me, Kevin.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I'm the
sometimes
forensic
it's...
specialist.
You're the what?
I was a forensic specialist last time that
Oh,
talked
okay.
about compassion and shit.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and Bev down there is a friend of mine chasing.
Okay.
How you been, Jim?
Getting better every day. Like I said, I'm finally starting to see getting some folks contacting me on my resume. So hopefully I'll be working here
I
soon.
gotcha.
That will make things happy. Because not having money sucks. But yeah. What about you? What's new?
I just got out of a live for about around. I just got out of a live that I visit now and then. I just lectured about child development and which is my favorite topic to do, really, when it comes to that, because it's funny because people come up with because child development and how religious indoctrination impairs that, and a colleague of mine explains, how it can cause learning disability because religion teaches you, hey, I already know everything, so I don't learn anything else. He defines it under the criteria of a learning disability, and.
Well, isn't there also a problem with the fact that, especially with like biblical teachings of using fear and punishment as your primary tools?
Oh yeah,
and not just definitely fear, but delayed punishment and delayed reward. With delayed punishment being your primary tool and delayed reward being kind of a secondary tool. Isn't that how harmful is that to kids?
It is, actually, I don't know if he's still around, but I'm gonna send it to Dr. John and all that. He might want to join, but because he more works with child development himself. I do with the forensics of things, but no, when it comes to that though, I always say, see. Because we learn our connection skills when it comes to bond attachment. Our parents, our caretakers are normally the ones who give us that. This goes into the truth teller. When it comes to religion, if he always explains that whenever if you have a parent or caretaker who tells you, hey, the stove's hot, and you go on there and you feel it by accident and you get burned, that you now institute that person as now as the truth teller. They're the reality holder in your understanding of the world. So if that same person says, hey, this God's a thing, and he's going to hurt you, he's going to punish you if you're not perfect, essentially, that does a lot of disconnected damage there. But the thing is, it causes the impairment in somebody's ability to understand information and connect to reality. If and kids only know the world that you paint to them. They only know that language through what has been given or prescribed to them. Which is kind of connected to what you're asking me. But when I explain this to people, it's more so you get detachments whenever a parent you should have a secure attachment to a parent, to a caretaker, because we are born with compassion. But I just explained pieces of this in another live for about an hour. The problem is compassion, and this is up in the Buddhists actually. This is why secularism and Buddhism actually kind of meet with some of these scientific understandings, because we do know in science that compassion is something that you're born with. We are born with the template of sympathy, which develops later as we connect to other people suffering through empathy. And the thing is, but over time, it's something that you're born with, but it also has to be cemented too. When your needs aren't met as a child, or in your element of getting a review and validation from your peers. Your parents come first for that. Then you learn your sense of self as the years go on. This happens between the age of 10 to 12, all that sort. You start learning yourself, and but when those needs aren't met at least a consistent level, let alone a more more predominant way, you get into things like error adjustment, meaning a sense of I'm not getting what I need, so I have to adopt learned behavior of how to do that, regardless of how it might affect somebody else. When that gets to a huge climax of certain types of malicious behavior, if you will, then you get into things that can often result into criminology.
Right.
Now,
hold on. Let me see. Is Meme Coin Takeover 23? Are you a Christian? If so, I will unfortunately dump Kevin and grab you. Let me bring him up real quick because I do want to talk to Theist. And
sure.
Meme Coin, are you a theist and are you over 18?
I'm over 18 and I'm not an atheist. I'm a Muslim.
Okay. Kevin, always great. And after this, maybe if you want to come up,
sure.
we can continue
I'm sorry,
that
I didn't mean
conversation.
to ramble or anything.
No, you weren't. You weren't. But you and I agree on a whole lot, so I kind of want to talk to.
It's fine. I'll drop out. It was nice seeing you, Jim.
Nice
and
seeing you
I'll
too.
catch you next time.
All right.
So I just want to know, like,
do you want to demonstrate your God exists, or do you want to talk about why I should care what the Quran says?
So first of all, I want to explain about like there's a God, and the reason there's a God. Think about it. Like, you guys don't believe in a God, right?
That's the definition of atheism. Yes.
Yeah.
I do not accept as true there are one or more gods. That claim. Yes.
Okay. So everything has a beginning. Do you agree?
Everything we know of has a beginning, but yes.
So everything that we know of has a beginning, right?
Are you going with the Kalam cosmological argument?
No, I'm just going based off the Quran. The Quran says like,
yeah, the Kalam cosmological argument is actually from Islamic scholars originally, and then William Lane Craig brought it to Christians. So, and it usually starts with everything has a beginning as the first premise, which is why I ask. And the second premise is the universe began to exist. And the third, and then of course the conclusion is therefore the universe has a cause. That is the initial syllogism. Is that where you're headed?
Yeah. So I want to know, like, okay, got it. So the Big Bang Theory, right? So what do you think happened? Like, who do you think created all this? Like, you don't think anyone?
I have no reason to think anyone created anything. And the reason I think it is because over the last 2,000 years ago, we used to have supernatural explanations for a whole number of phenomenon. Over the last 2,000 years, science has replaced those supernatural explanations with natural explanations. As a result, we don't have any supernatural explanations for any phenomena. At best, we have phenomena we can't explain, but we have no reason to assume supernatural at all. In fact, we have no way to even know what the odds of a phenomenon being supernatural or natural is, just based on the last 2,000 years of scientific progress. So I don't see any reason to assume a supernatural force of any kind created the universe. The second reason is simply that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. And so while this universe came into existence, energy existed before it did.
So you don't think anyone created that energy? So you don't think it's amazing how
it's a fundamental law of physics, right? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed.
So there's a law that can prove that energy cannot be created.
Yes. Basic law of thermodynamics. I forget which one. I think it's hold on. Let me.
Isn't it crazy like that you've been created like as a soul, like you was nothing, and then now you're something. Like you can decide You can make decisions.
So the something from nothing thing doesn't really work either. So once again, yes, energy cannot be created or destroyed is the law of conservation of energy, which states that the total amount of energy in an isolated system remains constant over time. Instead of being created or destroyed, energy can only be changed from one form to another. Yes. So this is problematic because God can't create energy either. This is just the laws of physics. Uh, but
And
so when you say
something
something from
also.
nothing, the problem that we have is that most people, when they say nothing, refer to what I call the philosophical nothing or the absolute nothing. That does not exist. And this is something, again, that physics has demonstrated that if nothing cannot exist, and so something always exists.
Like I said, like, you can't see your thoughts, right? Like when you have thoughts, you can't see them. When you
No,
love
so
something, you
neuroscience
can't see them.
can modern neuroscience can actually pick up thoughts up to about 3 seconds before they become conscious to us. It's simple thoughts like yes, no, blue, green, nothing complicated yet, but we can definitely see those thoughts.
You can't see your thoughts. Come on now. You
Yeah.
can't see it.
Yeah.
You can anticipate it, but you can't see it.
Neuroscience is doing that right now. They're reading minds right now. So yes, you can see thoughts.
Okay, can you see your emotions?
Emotions or thoughts? Yes, we can actually not only see those emotions, we can also measure the chemicals that cause them.
Isn't that fascinating? Like how all that can be like happen. Like imagine you
Absolutely,
can
it's
love.
fascinating, but
You
it doesn't
can
mean there's a
eat
God. Doesn't mean there's a
the
God
water
that
that you
exists.
drink. The water that you drink, doesn't it taste good? Like it can.
Doesn't prove God exists.
That doesn't prove God exists at all.
No, I mean, water tastes good because we need it, and therefore we have evolved to think that it tastes good. It's one of the things that demonstrates this the most is how much sugar we consume. Consumer is a great source of energy. We need energy, so we're programmed to like sugar. Unfortunately, our biology is not caught up with our ability to manufacture sugar, and so we eat way too much of it, which is why I'm fat.
And what you just said is all facts.
Yes.
Which is crazy. Which is crazy that like God did us all together. Like, doesn't that
But you
explain
haven't
how?
demonstrated God at all. That doesn't prove God exists. The
The thing
existence of the
is,
universe and anything inside of the universe does not prove God exists. It only
the
proves that the
thing
universe
is,
exists.
the thing is, your heart knows. Like if you like,
No, my heart is
it's
an
just
organ
like,
inside my chest that pumps blood. It doesn't know anything.
and the crazy thing is, you think how your blood is pumping, your blood is flowing, all that, right? And
It's
you would
not
say it's
evidence that a God
probably.
exists.
So you just woke up in this world, and then you're like, yo,
No,
and
I
that
was born
doesn't.
into this world. I didn't wake up. I mean, I woke up this morning, but I was born into this world and learned a whole bunch of stuff.
So, so who you think is the first human that's been made? Like, you don't. So you don't like who? Okay, so think about it. If you got to make a baby, right? You need you and a wife or a female, not a wife, like a female to produce to make a baby, right?
Yep, that's basic
So
biology.
exactly. So isn't there supposed to be one person that got been created? Like how? Now just use your logic in that. You need two people to make a human being, right? So
Yep.
who are the first two human beings? So how were they
There were
created? Now?
there were never two first human beings. You don't understand evolution, right? So there was a first cell, and it reproduced by splitting itself. Eventually, gametes, and we're not really sure how or why, gametes came about, and so you have sperm that move, and then you have an egg that doesn't. That seems to be conservation of energy in some ways, which is why that may have developed that way. But there aren't two first humans because that's just not how evolution works, right? Evolution is the change in allele frequency over time in a population. So to say there were two first humans is completely ridiculous. It doesn't make any
Okay.
sense. And to say that we were first humans also doesn't actually make any sense either in an evolutionary sense, since everything is we're evolving as we speak because our allele frequencies are changing. And alleles are the group of genes responsible for an inheritable characteristic like eye color. So
Okay, so
what
what
you
would you
just
think?
said makes any sense.
So what is the first creature in so what's the first creature on Earth? Like when Earth when Earth became Earth.
It was probably a single-celled organism of some kind. We don't actually know. There's no fossil record.
Okay. We don't know, and you just said it's a cell. You see what I'm saying?
No,
You
I said
see
it was
what I'm
most
saying?
likely a cell. And if I said it was a cell, I misspoke and should not have said that. The correct saying is most likely a single-cell organism of some kind.
And that organism just appeared out of nowhere?
No, I'd say abiogenesis.
What is that?
Abiogenesis is the current best explanation for how prebiotic chemicals came to become biotic chemicals and create life as we know it.
And that biochemist hasn't been created. It just happened.
As far as I can tell, there is no reason to believe that the universe is created. No.
So it just
no
happened.
evidence that there is a creator, right? And we only have this universe to look at. We don't have another universe to compare it to.
The evidence is you and me.
No.
The earth that you're looking at. The rain
None of that is evidence for God.
That's the evidence.
No, it's not.
That is evidence.
It's not evidence for God.
The stars that
evidence
you
for
see,
God.
the moon, the light. Like you see how everything.
You're just repeating yourself, and I'm repeating myself, and it's getting boring quickly. So quit appealing to things that we can see as evidence for God because it just isn't. All you're doing is saying, look at the trees.
You don't see the sun come up and then the moon come like they're perfect.
The sun actually doesn't come up. It only comes up from our perspective.
What I'm trying to say, like not come up, but I'm trying to say like you see how the sun is at the daytime and then the moon is at the nighttime.
Are you familiar with fallacies? Again, you would have to demonstrate that.
It's everything is calculated perfectly.
How would you demonstrate that? No, and what do you mean by perfect?
Like, what do you mean? Like, what I'm saying is like, come on now. You see the sun, and then the moon, and then they change perfectly.
Right. And because you don't understand how those work, then therefore God. Is that basically what you're saying?
But who makes it work? Like, if you're playing a video game, who makes that video game?
You're begging the question when you say who made it work. First, you have to prove there is a who, or that who is even a possibility or a probability.
So it's like I'm playing a game, and then you're gonna prove like, yo, who made that game? So you're technically by your
I'm saying that you asking who made that game is a stupid question because you haven't demonstrated there's a who. Right?
Exactly.
So you need to demonstrate there's a who, and you can't. And pointing to the earth and the way the earth is made does not get you there.
Like when you're playing,
I have a natural explanation for how the earth got here, or there's a perfectly valid explanation for how the earth got here. There's a perfectly valid explanation for how the universe got here.
Answer this question, and please be honest. Have you read the Quran or no? Like, have you ever even read it?
No, I've read the Bible several times. I have no reason to read the Quran. I don't care what it says.
Well, you know what? Maybe if you read the Quran, it will give you an explanation of how things work.
No, because it doesn't explain the Quran. So basically,
you don't gotta believe in it, but you can at least read it.
So what you're saying is Muhammad actually split the moon? I mean, I know some things that are in it. There's no way for Muhammad to have split the moon without us knowing it. So why do I need to know false things?
Were you there though? Like how do you you see what I'm saying? You said there is no way. You was like, there's no way he did it. Like he was there.
Because what you would see is you'd see evidence of tides changing in ways that we don't expect. There's a lot of things that are affected by the gravity of the moon and where the moon is. So if you split the moon, then we would see all that in gravitical effects. We don't have to be there. We can simply postulate what would happen if the moon split, and then we can run models to see what would actually happen. And none of that actually happened. And not only that, but if the moon did split, then what you would have is multiple records of it across the world. And the Chinese are silent, the Egyptians are silent, all these ancient, the Incas are silent, and the Mayans are silent. So where is the evidence that the moon was actually split other than in a Quran that you assume is true that I don't? So where's the actual
I
evidence
tell you
outside
this
of the
though.
Quran?
I'll tell you this, right?
I'm
You
hoping
know,
it's
if you
evidence
go to
that the moon
sleep,
was actually split.
look.
I don't. No.
Like
You need to tell me that. You need to give me the evidence the moon actually split. I'm not
the
going to let you
Quran
off
is the
this point.
evidence.
No, it's
I
not.
told you the
It's the
Quran.
claim. It's the claim. The Quran claims that the moon was split. I'm asking for evidence that that is in fact true.
If you're going by that logic, I can see the same thing when you're talking about like the cell. Give me evidence that there was a cell or there's an organ. Show me an evidence. You
Yeah,
can't
I
show me
can.
no evidence.
Yeah, I can show you all the work that abiogenesis is doing, and I can also
All
show
the work
you
by
all.
Genesis. You see,
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
all of the
Like I said, I'm
experimental
giving you a
evidence.
book.
No,
I'm
I'm
giving
not
you a
giving you
book.
a
You
book. I'm
giving me a
giving you
book as
experimental
well.
evidence. No, I'm giving you experimental evidence.
Experimental evidence. So like I want to like see it.
Yes, if you had
It's a book.
if
It's
you
written
had the
down.
money, if you had the money and the time and the training, you could actually reproduce the same results. Yes.
Exactly. If you had the money, you had the time. You think that people that back then had the technology for that?
No, they didn't. I don't know what
Okay.
that has to do with evidence that the moon was split.
It's in the book. And
I don't
look,
care if
I'll
it's in
give
the
you an evidence
book.
right now. I'll give you evidence right now, right? Like look, this
Outside of
if you go to
the
sleep,
Quran, what's the evidence that the moon split?
if you go to sleep, right? Can you split the moon?
I
That
can't
shows
split
how
the moon when I'm
God
awake.
can do anything.
No, it
That
doesn't. That
shows
shows
that God can do
nothing.
anything.
No,
If
it
you go to
doesn't. You
sleep
need.
and you go
Can
to
you
and you
show me?
dream,
No.
you can do any. You can fly.
I
You
can
can
split the
split the
moon in
moon.
a dream.
You
If we're
can
going to
do
go
anything in
there,
your dreams.
yes, and I can split the moon in my dreams too. So that has absolutely
Exactly.
nothing to do.
That
That
shows you
is
that the
not
power of
reality.
God.
No, it doesn't. Again,
This
show me
reality,
evidence
you
outside
know
of the
you're gonna
Quran that
die,
the
right?
moon
And
was
you're gonna sleep as
actually.
well.
So again, show me the evidence that the moon was actually split. Point to some ancient civilization that existed around the time that gave some sort of evidence that the moon was
I
actually
mean,
split because it would
like
have been
how isn't the
seen.
Quran? How isn't
I
the
don't care
Quran evidence though?
because
Isn't that
Quran is
evidence enough?
making no, it's not.
Because you haven't read it because he says something that you don't even know. Like iron. Did you know even how iron came in? The Quran showed it shows that it explains how iron came to this earth, and iron was never from this earth. If you know that, iron came from a star.
Well,
People
everything
back
on the
then,
planet came from a star, technically.
didn't even have technology to know that.
Right.
So the Quran
So
it
if you
tells you
actually
how the human
go,
is created. Everything. It tells you everything.
no,
It tells you
sorry,
facts that
no.
humans don't even
What you're
know.
doing is called after the fact rationalization. That's all you're doing because
I'm
none of
just
the
telling you,
explanation.
man.
No,
I'm just
no.
telling you what it is.
So just to clarify, you have given me a bunch of arguments from ignorance. You have given me it's true because the Quran says so, and that's all that you have. And I thank you very much for your conversation. And I hope you go and look some of this stuff up and actually get yourself an education. I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful day. All right. Up next is Haterade. 9902. Are you over 21? And what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm over 21.
Over 18. Over 18. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said 21. It's been a fun, long evening. I've almost 3 hours. That's a record for me. Anyway, so what do you want to talk about, Haterade?
So here's my take on religion. No one could ever prove it false. No one could ever prove it true. Maybe they could prove it true at some point. Maybe they could prove it false at some point.
So
But
when you
right
say
now,
religion, which religion are you talking about? Are you talking about all religions?
I don't think all religions, but I'm Christian. But
Okay.
you could never prove one false or one true. So
do you believe in the triomni God, the God that is omnibenevolent, omnipowerful, or omnipotent and omniscient?
I mean, yeah, but
Then how does
like
evil
we said,
exist?
the Trinity, right? The Trinity.
Let's not even go there because you don't want to do that. The Trinity is first century Christians didn't believe in the Trinity, and first century Christians also accepted this really old Greek argument called the argument from evil against a God existing. So if the triomni God exists, why does evil exist?
Well, okay, I actually will talk about this at length. You can't have evil without good. So, and they are
Why? What makes
okay.
that true?
Well, here we go. Let me talk about it like this. In order for darkness to exist, you have to have light.
So darkness is the absence of light. So sort of kind of true. It would be more correct to say.
There's a duality in most things, especially religion.
No, you can't make the claim there's a duality in most things. It's simply not true.
Okay, so you can't have dark without light. You can't have good without bad.
You can't. You have dark without light. You only have dark without light. So you can't even get your metaphors correctly. You can only have dark without light.
But you understand that once light is created, then therefore dark is created.
No, dark existed until light exists. That's the definition of dark, the absence of light.
Well, fine. Then are you okay? So is your argument that light doesn't exist?
Nope. No, my argument is that your duality concept doesn't work when we actually look at it, when we actually look at the science behind it, right? If you don't have light, you have by definition darkness.
The duality is that light is a definition of darkness based on darkness.
No.
Life is okay, so you can't have light.
Darkness is the absence of light. That's all it is.
Okay, I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying.
You can have darkness without light. In fact, that is the definition of darkness.
The term darkness, the definition darkness means nothing without light.
Yeah, sure. So, darkness is generally defined as without light. So, sort of kind of true. But I don't need light to have darkness. In fact, I cannot have light if I have darkness, or I will have shades of darkness.
Okay. So, life.
So darkness, the definition from the dictionary is the partial or total absence of light. And a secondary usage of the word is wickedness or evil. So yes, I'm using darkness correctly. Fantastic.
Okay, so you, in the definition in the dictionary, darkness definition says the absence of light. Do you not see the duality?
Or total? No, there's no duality there.
Okay, I don't think you understand. Total absence of light. Why don't you look up duality in the dictionary too?
Okay.
You can't have life without death.
Yes,
right?
No, you
can't have good without bad.
Why?
Good exists in a
the quality or condition of being dual, an instance or opposition or contrast between two concepts or two aspects of something, a dualism. Light and darkness aren't concepts; they're things that actually physically exist. They are not dual. They are not two sides of the same coin. Darkness is literally the absence of light. You can only have darkness without light.
The absence of light. Yes. So when it comes to rating anything, you have to have a metric, right? So yes. When it comes to age, there's old or young. When it comes to light, there's light or dark. When it comes to light,
old and young is not a duality. Old and young to describe two different types of ages. It's not a duality.
Okay. So just real quick, when we come to describing anything, you have a metric of scale, right?
No, not necessarily. Colors generally aren't a measurement of scale, although we do tend to assign them to frequencies for scientific purposes. But no, I mean, there's a whole concept of logic called fuzzy logic that deals with things like warm and cold and these other very fuzzy terms. So I don't need a scale to say it's warm out. It's just warm to me. And that may be because I'm running a fever. That may just be because I'm in sunlight. It doesn't really, I mean, there's no scale to a lot of our fuzzier concepts.
That's a metric of temperature.
No, it's not. It's not
So
a
you,
metric at all.
if
It's an
you say
opinion.
that
It's
you're
an opinion
warm,
of it. So a metric
if you say that,
a metric of temperature would be 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. It is not warm.
man, that doesn't make any sense what you're just saying. So warm is a description of the temperature that you are experiencing.
It's a relative
That
description because I could say that this is warm, meaning that it is minus 32 out. And it's warm because it was minus 68 the other day, right?
That doesn't matter. It's still a description of a temperature that is in relation to a colder temp or a warmer temp.
Right,
It's
but there's
still
no scale involved. There's no scale involved. It's all relative.
it doesn't matter the scale. If you
Okay.
say that
So
you're
just
warm,
get on with your point. We're delving off into
just keep it. Well, so what happens is every time I
pedantry.
speak,
I don't think matters.
you interrupt me. So you're interrupting me every time I speak. Every time. So if you don't want to
Yeah,
hear
it's
me
my
talk,
life.
that's
So
fine. If
go
that's how
ahead,
you
get
want to
back
run
to
your
your
life,
point. Get back to your point. I don't accept the duality.
If you okay, fine. You know what? I thank you for having me. You interrupt me every time I speak. If you want to keep interrupting, that's how you want to run your life. That's totally fine. I don't want to be a part of it.
All right, go find somewhere else. Thank you. All right, yeah. So duality doesn't prove God exists. There is a God. Just because even if I accept as true that reality is governed by causality, that does not mean there's a God. In order to do that, you need to prove causality. It can also be from natural. Cause can be natural. Yeah. And we were getting off on the point, but I'm just not going to accept that duality exists. Light and dark is not dual. There's no duality there. The quality or condition of being dual, no. Oh, goody. Here we go. Hello, Michael. Are you over 18? And what do you want to talk about?
Yes, sir. Who cares about the Bible?
Mm-hmm.
You
Why should I
know,
care what the Bible says?
there are no gods. That's the other part.
Uh-huh.
You
What do you want to
see.
talk about?
Are you sure there's no gods?
Well, so if you want to claim that the triomni God exists, the God that is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent, and the evil exists, then that God is logically impossible. For every other God concept, when 2,000 years ago, we had supernatural explanations for a number of phenomenon. As we progressed in science over the last 2,000 years, every single one of those explanations have been replaced by a natural explanation. As a result, I don't know how I can conclude that any explanation for a phenomena is supernatural. Like, I just have no reason to come to that conclusion. So therefore, yes, gods don't exist because everything we see has a natural explanation.
Oh, wow. Well, good answer, my brother. I just noticed that you only seem to reference like 2,000 years.
Yeah, that's just because I'm picking on Christians and Jesus. So I can go
Oh,
back
yeah.
farther. I can go back 10,000 years or whatever you want to, but 2,000 is a nice round number. We can go back
Well,
100 years or 200 years ago. I mean, people were still
the
claiming.
monotheistic.
Pardon?
I was just saying, yeah, the monotheistic ones, like the newest versions.
Well, it goes for the polytheistic too, right? A god of thunder makes absolutely no sense. We know how thunder works. We know what causes thunder. Lightning. It's the rapid expansion of the atmosphere when lightning strikes due to superheating of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
We know how it, and we can actually create lightning. Not quite as powerful as what we see in storms, but we can still do it, right? So,
yes, sir.
yeah, I don't have any reason to conclude
What
that
about
there's a God.
what about the pyramids? Now,
What
come
about them?
on now. I mean, look at them. Have you ever seen them?
Oh yeah, I haven't seen them in person, but I've seen pictures of them. So what?
I mean, what about
They exist.
monolithic? monolithic structures that can't be, performed or explained, within
Oh, we have explanations for
today's
all of
time.
them. Humans built them.
Logically explained. Now,
Yeah, logically
you,
explained. Humans built them. In fact,
yeah,
we've
the
actually done. We've
sand,
actually
yeah,
shown that if you wet the sand down, you actually decrease friction, and it makes it easier to drag the bigger blocks around. The one big block that everybody says can't be moved, and that pyramid wasn't moved. So we have explanations for all of this.
yeah. And I'm totally curious, bro. And don't kick me off for asking this. What shape of the Earth do you think it
It's a sphere.
is? Do you
Well,
have evidence?
it's an obloid spheroid, but it's not a perfect sphere by any stretch of the imagination. But yes, it is round in 3 dimension.
Have you ever noticed the North Star?
Yep.
The Polaris,
hmm
it stays in the same spot like all
Sort
the
of, kind of,
time.
not really. It's moved over the centuries. Yes.
I mean, can I see that in my lifetime by this oak
So what?
tree
Doesn't mean
that's
it
been
doesn't
there?
move. Doesn't mean it doesn't move.
I mean, it's crazy to think like the North Star is
So
in the
what?
same spot all the
So
time.
what? It's crazy to think. So what?
Well, I don't know. Were you born here in the States?
Uh huh.
Did you go to school?
Oh yeah. Multiple different schools.
Shul?
I moved 14 times in 17 years, and I've been to a few more schools than that.
Holy cow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I went to parochial schools. I went to public schools all across the country.
I'm trying to figure you out, based on your accent.
Oh, don't. I'm an Air Force brat. I have accents from everywhere. In fact, the strongest part of my accent is probably Alabama at the moment, unfortunately. But yeah,
Alabama.
so none of this has anything to do with whether or not a God exists.
I was thinking Alabama, but yeah, totally. I didn't mean to get off topic. What's your definition of God?
I don't have one. I mean, I do have one. I can just go to the dictionary and go, let's see, what does the dictionary say about God? Generally, that's all I do. Yeah, so God, the first usage in Christianity and other monotheistic religions, the creator and ruler of the universe and source of all moral authority, the supreme being. The second usage is in certain other religions, a superhuman being or spirit worshipped as having power over nature or human fortunes, a deity. So those are the two general usages of God in common U.S. English.
Well, yeah, yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks, Webster. But I do notice that you go with the lowercase g gods. Is that like, am I
Yeah,
making like things up?
God is not a name; it's a word.
Right,
It's
right,
not a
right.
proper noun. It doesn't deserve to be capitalized.
Are you atheist? Is that
Yeah,
a okay question?
yeah. I'm an atheist.
How long? How many years?
Doesn't really matter,
So
but over 30. Why?
over 30. Wow. How old are you? You can't be
I'm
over 40.
55. No, I'm 55.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
hell for
Yeah,
55. Where's the gray?
it's in there. No, it's not, and again, none of this has to do anything with whether or not God exists.
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything else?
How long were you religiously
Yeah, none of
indoctrinated?
that has anything to do with whether or not God exists. Thank you so much for the conversation, Michael. You have a great evening.
Thank
All right. Humanity wasn't created. That makes no sense. Evolution is true. We evolved from a common ancestor with the other great apes, and but if you want to talk about it, repented heart every day. Come on up and we can have that discussion. I'm not a huge fan of talking to chat, but we can do that. No, probability has nothing to do with God. It's not hypocrisy. That's kind of silly. Yeah, not from monkeys. Michael, you've got not for, it is. No, math exists independent of a God. I don't know that you actually know what you just said. So if we get pedantic, proof is something that only happens in mathematics, but in the more common parlance, proof and evidence are synonyms, pretty close to it. So your statement that you have no proof, only evidence makes no sense. It's logically invalid. Check, did it not evolve or come from a monkey? God created me. Yeah, so if you're going to deny evolution, then you have to deny that genes exist. So if you want to deny genes exist, that's fine, but you're just wrong. Yeah, detectives look for evidence to prove their case. I don't know what you mean. TJ Greaves, yeah, my pet invisible dragon loves you too. Well, I don't know if I'm certainly a legend in my own mind, Heathen Reason. Thank you so much. I do what I can. You can't no, that's why we have science and then we publish so that, and we have so many people doing it so we can come to an understanding of reality. Yeah, I think you've heard my reasons. If not, I'll go over them again, Why don't you come up and let's have that conversation? It's the only tool we have. You can call it crude if you want, but it's the only tool that we have. The Bible certainly doesn't help us to understand reality. I mean, the Bible is at best a human curated set of human created stories. I don't know where Stephen Hawking is. He could be dead for all I know. But none of what you just said means anything. Repentant heart every day. I'm sorry. Whenever somebody says you'll find out when you're dead or everybody's going to die, you've basically acknowledged that you don't have any arguments and you have no evidence. And so you're just going to resort to threats to make your point. It doesn't seem to be on our ability to understand reality. We have a pretty good understanding of quantum physics. We have a pretty good understanding of the germ theory of disease. We have a pretty good understanding of evolution. We have a pretty good understanding of physics. We can use that to predict and forecast all kinds of things. So that's simply not true. What phenomena exist that we can't explain? And yes, it exists. Just because we can't explain it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And just because we can't explain it doesn't mean God did it. So, hey, Ting, thank you so much. Being a big fan is awesome. Just don't let my girlfriend know that I like fans. We have a heat joke where she always has the fans on. But yeah. Life in a phenomenon, conscious is a phenomenon. We don't understand it. We do understand life. We have a pretty good understanding of quite a bit of it. There are some mechanisms in the human body we don't understand yet, but it doesn't mean we can't, because we understand so much what the body does do. Consciousness is the result of having a brain. It is an emergent property of having a brain. And we can actually read thoughts up to about 3 seconds before they become conscious to us. So the problem with that, is that you also can't understand what it is and its nature, and therefore you can't prove that it exists, which is all I'm looking for. Yeah, I don't understand, therefore God is a fallacy. Yes, the Big Bang is true. We have plenty of evidence for it. And in fact, the funniest thing is I can actually use a Christian who is a young Earth creationist to actually prove it too, if you really want. Yeah, I like Pelagia's minimal witness theory. I don't have enough background to comment on it with any intelligence. I think it's more likely than the minimal witness theory, any other minimal witness theory I'm aware of. Reality is omnipresent. Okay. Is it omnipotent? No. The universe, I mean, when you say reality, you really should say universe. The universe is omnipresent, yes, of course, because it exists everywhere. No, but see, you also have a problem with hard solipsism. Your belief in God doesn't get you out of hard solipsism. Yes, and you could also be dreaming. Your belief in God doesn't get you out of that problem. We don't know. There is no evidence. I mean, our math is good. Our understanding of the universe only goes back so far. And that high energy physics we just don't understand yet. The universe is, yeah. So that's the universe was within reality. It makes no sense. So you could believe that, but what's your evidence, TJ Greens? Yes, all kinds of people are dead. In fact, there are more people dead than there are alive. So what? Space and time are inside the universe. Time may or may not exist outside of it. We don't know. Space-time, some physicists think that space and time exist inside the universe, or are fundamental parts of the universe. You're splitting things up that physics says we shouldn't. That, as far as I understand physics, and I'm not a physicist, says we shouldn't. Matter exists within space and time. Yes. Well, the universe is the reality that we know. So space-time is the universe. Matter exists inside that. Yes. The universe isn't expanding into anything. Dr. Blitz had a really good explanation for the expansion of the universe that finally made sense to me. If you bring up an Excel spreadsheet and start expanding the size of the cells, that's what the expansion of the universe is. It's not expanding into anything. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with a PhD in physics on this one. You shouldn't either. You'll just lose. Why do I care what the Bible says, TJ? Yeah, so you believe God exists because the Bible tells you God exists. And around we go. Where we stop, nobody knows. Right? It's just a circular argument. So what? Lots of people die. Lots of people die early. Yeah, sure you are. Which prophecies? Because there are prophecies that he didn't fulfill any of them, which is kind of strange. Sure you do, I believe you. Yeah, I believe you. You're going to need to provide some evidence because you certainly do not talk like you're educated. Not to have, would you claim 2 PhDs? No. I don't think anybody in chat believes you. Hey, awesome little boy. I'm glad it's your favorite. I enjoy it. I enjoy being on it. TJ Greaves, so what? Oh, we love you right back. We love all of our listeners. God has a tiny penis. Here, I mock God. What are you going to do about it, Ted? You can come up here and prove that God exists? Yeah, it's because people are trying to convince you that the Bible is true, but I don't really care what the Bible says. So, because there is no God. So why would I care what the Bible says? You'd have to prove God exists. So, yeah, what you're looking for, TJ Greaves, is none. None of them. None of the actual prophecies. There's that. Yep, twice. I'm currently studying it too. In fact, one of the things that I've been working on is trying to find the so-called 1,000 to 2,000, however many there are, prophecies. I found 55, but the rest of the 1,000 or so I have not found. And so far, hasn't fulfilled them, or they're not prophecies. So there you go. Yeah, I thought about it, and I repented, and I don't care. People die young. Some people believe things that aren't true. Okay, doesn't prove God. Googling you was not going to help. And you'd have to prove that you are whoever you put in for us to Google. Daniel Lehman, yes, I am past my prime. And, oh shit, I'm past my bedtime too. I am not Fred Flintstone. Okay. Yeah, so try walking across a busy freeway by faith alone. Let me know how that works out for you. No, don't do that. That would be harmful. Try, let's do something less harmful. Try walking through a dense forest with your eyes closed. See how that works out for you. Yeah, you're going to have to do a lot more than just send me a name. So you're using the word created, which is begging the question of whether or not there's a God. And the short answer is physics. Well, all physics is quantum physics. So yeah, that's how the world came about. And the world came about because of gravity. And life came about because of abiogenesis. Anyway, folks, I didn't say the world created itself, JJ. Anyway, folks, I will talk to you later. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I am way, way, way past my bedtime. It is 11:30 local, and I've been on this for 3 hours and 18 minutes. So we will talk at you next time. Thanks so much.